Good morning. Good morning. Hey, Miss Baby. Hey, Miss Heidi. Y'all might hear some thunder rolling in the background. We got a storm going. So if our connection does go out, know that it's bad weather today. Well, more so a thunderstorm. Not nothing too crazy, thank you God. But there is a thunderstorm brewing right now. Supposed to handle some business this morning, but I don't know how that's going to work with this thunderstorm rolling in. So I just have to wait and see. Um, and whatnot. But the thunder is like crazy.
It hit a tree between us and the people behind us.
Oh, lightning?
Yeah, also Duchess in front of Rick. She's terrible.
Well, I guess let her in and take her to the cigar lounge. Shut the door here so she can't get in here with them, I suppose. We're gonna bring the little puppy that we've helped. She has a house out there, but bring her in if she's too terrified, because obviously, lightning striking is very scary and whatnot. Um, so I may end up not being able to do my morning live like I normally do if it continues and whatnot, because I obviously don't want to get electrocuted. That would not be nice. That would be a terrible thing, right? I do have to make do some things this morning, but also, good morning to all the bush watchers and everybody in the clouds. I hope y'all are having a good morning. I know a lot of people get busy early in the morning and they're doing stuff, going to work, all that stuff. Y'all just make sure to stay safe while you out there and all that good, lovely stuff. And if my connection goes out, just know I love you. Um, so that's all I wanted to say on that. Let me put. It's okay, baby girl. It's okay. My dogs are all piling up on me because they don't like thunderstorms, so I'm having to baby them all and whatnot. How's the weather over where y'all are at right now? Is it good? Is it okay? Is it decent? Sunny skies, beautifulness. It's supposed to be 68 degrees today for us. We have a little storm coming through. Looks like a pretty little rough thunderstorm. And then it's going to go over into Alabama. So if you're in Bama, Tennessee, so on and so forth, here I'll show y'all the weather that's in the area. Um, right quick. It says lightning strikes detected. Heavy rain expected in 1 minute. Um, it's a little crazy today. Um, I'm gonna show y'all. I'm gonna zoom out and show y'all the little storm that's coming through. It's just pretty rough. Hey, y'all had that stuff yesterday, Watcher. See, every time that's the thing, Watcher. I'm gonna need you to tell me when you have shit going in your area, because most of the time it comes from y'all, and then we get it like a day later, like a day later. You know what I'm saying? Um, but um, let me make sure that no crazy nothing crazy is showing right quick. Uh, hold on. All right, here we go. Let me show this right quick. Okay, so this is the storm system that's headed through right now. You see all that lightning and stuff? Yeah. So that's a pretty rough little storm, you know what I mean? Those are storm arriving in 20 minutes and all that other stuff, 50 minutes, 60 minutes. Um, you know, it's all the way up until this is a little green up here, but um the worst part of the storm seems to be down in this area. Um, and I'm gonna teach y'all a little something right quick about weather. Okay, these are just thunderstorms, but let's say there was going to be tornadic activity within this line. You see this right here? Usually it's going to look something like this. That would be considered an outflow, or as you've all heard in the past, a a hook echo, a bow echo. So what happens with really strong storms? Right now it's not conducive for it, but let's say you saw something like that in the cloud coverage when you're looking online. What happens is there'll be a rotation like right in this area. So as it's pulling out here and then pushing in there, right? And those are what you'll usually see, not all the time, when you see tornadic activity. You'll see something that looks like a little hook in the cloud, right? And so this is where it pushes out. This is where it would pull in, and usually you'll see a pronounced echo, right? And what happens is that the cold air and the hot air mix, and it starts spinning, and that's why, like this, I know it's just a thunderstorm, just a really bad thunderstorm, because the air is not conducive for tornadic activity right now. Basically, right? Good morning, Mr. David. Um, when tornadoes happen, right? Usually on one side of the cloud it's cold air, and on the other side of the cloud it's hot air, right? Like really humid, really hot. And so when that cold air and that hot air mixes, right? And so that's why they'll tell you, like if stuff's coming from down here from the coast, right? In this area. This is like the coastal area, right? If we're going down all the way to the south, it's coming up from the Gulf Coast usually, but then coming across from this area, right? So as it's coming across here and the moisture and the heat's coming up, they mix together and they make a violent storm. Now, if it's hot outside at your house, and I mean hot when you walk out there and you know a storm's coming, it's conducive for tornadic activity. If you feel the humidity and like it feels muggy outside, but you know that cold front's coming through, that storm's coming through, right? It's conducive for tornadic activity. If you know the atmosphere is a little more stable, that's why I'll tell you this. Every Southerner, you can ask any of us in here or anybody who has to deal with tornadic activity, what do we always pray for before the storm comes? We always pray for rain. You want to know why? A lot of the time, I'm not saying this happens all the time because sometimes things happen, right? Sometimes it'll rain and then it'll heat up worse than what it was before. But a lot of the time, if it rains before the main storm gets there, it makes the conductivity of the tornadoes less likely. Because if it cools off the area and stabilizes the environment, right, then it's less chance and less likely to create tornadic activity. But if it's really muggy, really hot, and let's say it rains and it gets worse afterward, you might want to look out when them storm systems come in. So anybody from the South or anybody, I wish Baby Shark was in here, but because they could absolutely, and any Southerner knows this pretty much. We know and not just Southerners, but people that in the Midwest, people in, that have to deal with these things. Miss Bambi knows, you know what I'm saying? People who have to deal with tornadic activities, right? We all know one simple thing. Is the environment conductive for tornadic activity, or is it calmed down? If we know it's calmed down, then we know that it's just going to be a little thunderstorm, might get a little bit of wind, might get some hail, you might get a little something, but it's not going to be tornadic. Now, if the environment gets extremely hot, extremely muggy, we know it's extremely conductive. And that's when we're really looking out. That's why you'll see a lot of people walk outside their homes and feel the air outside. You'll see them looking at the clouds. You'll see them go outside. There's a reason why. They're checking to see how the outside feels, to see if it's conductive or not, or if it's calmed down. And so most of us who have to deal with tornadic activities, we pray for rain. We pray for rain before the storm, because we know if it cools off and the rain comes and it's a heavy, good rain, and we don't want just a little light sprinkling and then the sun to pop out, because we know that's not good. We want a heavy, good rain right before the storm comes in. We know that it's going to calm it down just enough to where it's not going to be as conducive. Yeah, you watch the cloud cover, the cloud movement, the color, the temp. You can look at the wind shear on a lot of these. Like you see how this barely got any orange in it? That is usually just bad thunderstorms. When you look at these and you see bright red and it's in a line and it looks rough, and if there's any purple, purple within the storm, usually for your local weather stuff. This one looks a little different, but like a deep purple, it's gonna be hell most of the time. A lot of people don't know that, and if you see like a blackish, reddish, purplish color within the cloud, it's really bad. Um, Good morning, Racing Stars. So, you saved the new baby. You got her in there. Is she doing okay? Is she calming down? Um, and Bruiser, chill out. You're in here in the room with me, knowing this is where he wants to be. I have one dog. I don't know about y'all, but I got one dog that cannot stand for any door in the house to be closed. He thinks all doors have to be open to him. Yeah, we're technically in the middle of our season right now. Our season starts from April. Sometimes it starts in February and goes all the way past spring, and sometimes we still have a few within summer ranges. It this time of year is worse for us. February, March, April, and May. June, you would think that the hotter months would be the worst, but for some reason, this is our storm season. Sometimes in February we don't have nothing at all, but sometimes we do. But March, April, and May are our worst. July and August, it could be spotty, right? It depends. But this is actually our worst time of the year right now for tornadic activity. Spring, believe it or not, for us, because that's when we have the most storms. That's when we get the most rain. A lot of times during our summer, we don't get a lot of storms. You know what I'm saying? So, but the storms we do have sometimes will be a little bit rougher because of the heat, right? But we don't get as many. In fact, we have a lot of droughts and stuff usually during our summers. Um, oh, okay. She's loving up on them. Okay. Um, so it for us, this is our worst time. And you can ask anybody that lives in Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, Arkansas, Tennessee, anybody in this area. The hood tab, are you okay over there, girl? I know storms, storms be storming. And the other day I was bragging on you why you wasn't here, but don't tell nobody. Y'all, if y'all don't know, the hood table is one of my really good friends, and I love that girl to death. She is one of the best people you will ever meet in your life. I'm just telling you. And if you live near the Midwest and you want a good cake and you live near her, I would suggest hitting up the hood table for a cake. Because this bitch right here, and I say that with love, she is one of the best cake decorators I have ever seen in my life. And I wished I lived closer because she knows I want that cookie and cream cake. Oh my God, you got water damage, boo? I hope everything's okay. Uh, the hood table, Miss Baby's in Iowa. That's too far away, right? I think she's in shit, I forgot. You done told me I don't know how many damn times the hood table we've talked about your area, and I done forgot where the fuck you at already. I told y'all that I have a bad hey twin mama, good morning, beautiful. Um we have a bad yeah, she's in the Midwest too, but she's in Iowa, which I think that's too far. I mean, you could probably drive to her. If you'll go on her page, she has a lot of times she has her Instagram with it, with her cakes. That'll be the best way for y'all to get in contact, so y'all don't have to say, or yeah, she's in Nebraska, you're in Iowa. So yeah, you can hit her up on her cake IG is what I would say. That's the way I would say y'all can get in contact where y'all don't have to necessarily tell nothing too serious about each other. You know what I'm saying? On because protect y'all. You know what I mean. If you ever need a good cake, Miss Bambi, I'm telling you, even if you had to make that hour drive, it's worth it. That woman right there does amazing. She's about 2 hours from Omaha, the Hood Table. I'm just telling you that y'all need to link up on that, Miss Baby. The next time that baby has a birthday, she's amazing. She does like fillings in her cakes. She can do pictures on the cakes. If you look on her page right now, let me post her. Let me get her channel link, because if you go to her channel and you subscribe, and I'm a mod over there, I love my Hood Table. She knows it, and I always will. She has her info in her description box. But let me share her channel. If you subscribe to her channel, you will see her cakes on her channel. She puts her cakes on her channel. So I'm going to drop her link right now, so that you can subscribe to her channel, because I'm telling you, just when you look at them cakes, child, if you just look at her shorts on her page, like, hold on, I'm just going to do a preview. I'm not playing your content, Hood Table. I know you won't say nothing about it. I'm not doing that to you. I want people to go look at your shorts for themselves. You see this 60th cake? Look. Look at that. Look at that. Look, tell me this woman is not freaking talented. Look at them bites. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Y'all tell me that the Hood Table is not freaking talented, because she is. If you go over here, look at them cakes. I'm just telling you, she does good cakes, good food. I'm just saying, you can see, she does about her. Look at that. This cake right here. I remember when she did this one. It's a silver cake, okay? And she had to put all kind of stuff into it to make that icing. And she put the person, it had liquor bottles in it and everything else. Like, I'm telling you, you just got to go watch these shorts and look at her cakes. I'm just telling you, she posts them on her community wall too. Like, she does real life stuff, talks about the area. She does interviews. She's been on the news. Look at them cupcakes right there. Look at them Y'all know I love food. Like, the Hood Table I'm trying to find more of your cake stuff, Hood Table. Let me go to her post. I've been a member of there since forever, ever. Thank you for the share, Hood Table. Speaking of which, I'm just trying to scroll down your post to see more of the photos of the cakes, to show people what your cakes look. Look at that right there. That's another cake she made. Now look at that cake. All that piping that was done for that cake. This is one she did for a baby shower. They wanted a onesie, a pink onesie. Look at all that. I'm just telling you, this woman is super talented. I'm trying to find more cake stuff. Okay, now look at this one. That's a 50 fabulous. Look at that. Look at that. Look. With multi-colors too. Oh, I might have to scroll up and scroll back down. You know it does that sometimes. Look at that. Look at that. It's got even the edible glitter and shit on it. It's all shiny and shit. Y'all know I love shiny stuff. This is where she Dubai chocolate strawberry pistachio cups. Here's another one where somebody wanted Tyler the Creator's picture on the cake. This was the colors they asked for. She did what somebody wanted them to do. Look, she even sprayed it. See, it's even got that edible glitter on it. She even placed each one of those little things in the roses and shit. Like, she does details. Now, this is one of my favorites right here. Look at this. That's just a beautiful setup. They wanted a Tiffany blue tower cake. Look at this. Just look at the detail. The eye to detail. I'm just telling you, look at that. Look at the sparkles and shit. I'm bragging on you, girl. You know I got to. I got to show it. I got to show all the love. Uh-oh, there's that strawberry cheese. Like those strawberry ice creams. That's what that's kind of like. Look at that. Ooh, look at that. I'm just saying. I still think that's absolutely gorgeous, girl. And I'm trying to They're my favorite one. Now she's got a favorite one that I absolutely love, and she knows that's a red Rosetta cake for the cousin's birthday. It's got the picture on it and everything. She even does pictures and stuff on there, which to me, hey, also Miss the Hood Table, Miss Bambi, she does fudge. So maybe oh, she has a playlist, y'all. She has a playlist. Hold on. She has a playlist too. Let's go. Let me go get the playlist right quick. So, I'm just gonna copy the playlist, the cake decorating playlist right quick. I gotta pause this. And I'm gonna show. Oh yeah, look right here. Oh yeah, see. This is the playlist. I'm gonna show y'all the playlist. I'm gonna share it right quick for y'all. It'll take you to the playlist if you click this. But now let me say this. Miss Bambi does her fudge and stuff like that. So maybe y'all could hook up and you can make her some fudge, Miss Bambi, and she can make you some, and y'all could exchange shit. But when it comes to cake decorating, don't nobody do it like the Hood Table do it. I'm just telling you, I wished I lived closer. I wished I did. I would so get me a cake. It's raining now, y'all. That's a good thing. Also, I'm gonna keep you in my prayers, the Hood Table, on that damn flooding in your house. Because what y'all don't know, do you have flood insurance though, the Hood Table? I know you own your home. Did you, when you got your homeowner's insurance, did you get flood or storm? Because they might pay for it. Maybe that's who you haven't coming out. I'm not sure. But when you get your estimate, I would contact your insurance. Maybe they'll help pay for some of it so you won't have to come completely out of pocket. And I'm betting right now the Hood Table's at work while she's here. No, she does a lot of stuff, and she's a really good person. So I wanted to make sure y'all knew about the Hood Table because I've known her for many, many years, and she's just an ultimately good person. Also, the Hood Table, if you could tell Choreo Lover that everybody and their mama has been asking about her, and for her to let us know if she okay. That's all we need to know. You all right? Okay, that's it. A lot of people, when they see me in chats, and I know they're doing it to you too, been asking me how's she doing. Of course, we've been worried about her. We love her. She's family to us. Always has been, always will be. See, I will say that, me, myself, and I was going to do a F around and find out today, but I had a lot of business I was supposed to take care of this morning. But with these storms, I may have to end up calling around to some places and trying to do things online or like, see if it would be okay to do it Monday morning or something because. Oh, she's just chilling on the couch. Okay, as long as she's cool, and not freaking out, that's all that matters. I didn't want her to be out there and something bad happen and stuff like that. So my puppy that I just found, the only reason I didn't want to let her in the house yet is because I'm doing treatments on her, right? But it's been about a week for the treatments. So I think she'll be fine. Oh, it took her a minute to warm up to the house. You could tell she grew up outside most of her life, even though she's not that old. That nobody had her ever in a house. You can tell. You could just tell by it, The poor little thing. She's so cute though and so loving. I need to transfer some of the pictures I have of her and put them up here. Hold on, let me see if I can go grab a picture for y'all. But you make sure, Hood Table, next time you talk to her, tell her that Charlie sends her love and that she misses her, and everything. And tell her that I deeply do care about her and I worry about her, obviously. But I'm glad that she's taken time away from this bull mess and whatnot. And I'm glad she's just doing her thing. But tell her that I truly do care and miss her and worry about her. And others do too, because they asked me, is she okay? She has more love than she knows on these YouTube streets. Yeah, now she just chilling. Yeah. But I'm glad. Let me try to get this picture right quick. Um, and show y'all what she looks like. Okay, let me get the picture right quick, and then I'm gonna upload it on my thing. Oh, okay. She's a sweetheart though, for real. She's a sweet girl. And I'm gonna show y'all what Duchess looks like. Um, I got to get some new up to date over the last few like week where she's been here, um, because she's actually gotten bigger and everything. She's actually gotten bigger and she actually had a lot of ticks I had to pick off of her when she first come up. She was ate up in fleas, so I had to do a treatment on her. Um, and so we've had to work with that. And so right quick, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up this picture. Thank you to Hood Tables for postings. I'm going to get this picture right quick of this download. Um, and show y'all what she looks like and how cute she is and how sweet she is and all this other stuff. Okay, so let me I think I probably put it under media assets. Yeah, let me add this overlay right quick. I don't know if that's not going to let me do it that way. I'll have to put it, I guess, as a photo or whatnot on my avatar. Yeah, wait. Is it not going to show up here? Let's see. Pictures. Downloads. All files. Let's see if I can get it to come up, y'all. That's Duchess. She was sitting in my lap and she's smiling in the picture because she's super happy. Thank you to Hood Table. I didn't mean to put the wrong one, child. Yeah, we would take more pictures, but she's super hyper right now because she's a puppy and we can't hardly get her to sit still. You know, when they're really young, they're like really young. And we also have this cute picture of my dog Boom Boom. You know, I've told y'all about Boomer. He was asleep on my leg, just chilling. But that's Boomer right there. He's dead asleep. He's laid across my leg, just chilling. I'll show y'all. She's super adorable, and I'm gonna add another photo of her right quick. I don't know what she's mixed with fully. I know she's a mixed breed. But I don't know what all she's mixed with. When she first came up, her little sides were like sunk in. She was so hungry. She accidentally got sick. She ate too fast. And she was just, you know, she had a lot of ticks on her. When I mean a lot, I've pulled off at least 10 or 15 or more. And I've had to doctor the areas. I got her some of that squeezy tube stuff. Yeah, you could see her little ribs when she first come up. Now she's a fatty. Um, now she's a little bit of a fatty, but hey, you know, you gotta love your babies sometimes. But she's doing better now. She's growing good. I got her a worm treatment just in case, because as young as she is, you know, they always need that when they're real little. And I don't know how long She was out in the woods, and I don't know how long it was since somebody just dropped her off. Right? I don't know. I have been actively seeing if anybody would claim her, and nobody has. But she's gonna be a huge dog. Her paws are bigger than my fist right now, and she's a baby. Like she's like maybe 2.5 months, 3 months old. She's young, very young. So we got her a little house on the back porch and got her blankie. She's got her own blankie. She's got her own chew bone. But I got her one of those chew bones that help with the teeth. I'm gonna show y'all what kind I'm talking about that I got. Um, it's not a dental bone, but it's kind of like that. Um, I'll show y'all the exact one that I got her if I can find it. It's got like little bumpies on it. It's a toy, but it's specifically made for them to be able to chew when they're little. And it helps with their teeth and their gnawing. Let me see if I can find the exact one. It's kind of like that one right there, but a little bit bigger because I had to get her a bigger one. Obviously, she's not a small dog. She's a pretty good size. So I'm trying to find the exact. Oh, there they are. But I got the bigger one. This is the exact one I got her. Hold on. I'll show y'all. Well, is it going to show up in a big picture? Because this looks tiny as shit. I don't think y'all will be able to see it. Let me go. Okay, so this is how I'll do it. I'll go to the website. This is the one I got her, but I got her the big one instead of the little one because she's obviously a big girl. So let me present screen and show y'all. Okay, love you, sweetheart. Let me show y'all. Screen share. This is the bone that we got her. See what this does is it's a durable chew toy for active chewers, and that also helps. I got her the bigger version, but it is that pink one. And so this is the kind that I got her, but I got her the pink, and it's a little bit bigger than that one because she's a big girl. And it's bacon flavored, and it's veterinarian approved. It's called the Tough Bone. It's especially with her being really young right now, she's gonna want to chew on things. So I got this when my other pups were smaller, because they had chewies, and so I got this one right here. And it usually works pretty good. My question for y'all is, do y'all have any plans for this weekend? Let me switch the picture back to myself. Okay. Does it also Twin Mama, I gotta go back if you're still here and watch your replay from last night. Obviously, fell asleep. You know I go to bed early. But I'm always gonna catch your replay. It's the same thing when Watcher goes live later, or Rat Trap City, or MRE, or anybody else goes live real late. I always try to catch the replay. And are y'all gonna do the show soon? Oh, you're gonna go see a comedian tonight, Watcher? Do I know the comedian? We're supposed to have a thing tomorrow at the Speedway in Guntown. Where the New Breed. Have you ever heard the song Welcome to My House? Welcome to my house. Oh, the Carolina Reaper. Oh, the Carolina Reaper. Yeah, I can just keep getting this stuff for the pepper. Oh, New Breed is supposed to be down here during our we have a raceway thing down here, and so they're supposed to do a show this weekend, but I don't know if it's going to get rained out. you know, because they're supposed to be at the speedway. So I don't know if it's going to get rained out or not. Yeah, they're supposed to do that April 26th, which would be tomorrow. I'll show y'all the if I can find the poster for it. They're supposed to be doing let me look right quick. Cuz they have the post up, and oh no, that's supposed to be tonight. Oh, they're $65 at the gate, but I don't know, that might be sold out tonight. I mean, or that might be canceled tonight because of this rain. It was supposed to be tonight on the 25th, or it may be rescheduled because it was the Outlaw Nation tour, the official Outlaw Nation tour. It's going to be Jesse Howard and New Breed. So I don't know how that's going to work with all this rain and stuff. Oh no, it's the 26th. I was right. What am I saying? Okay. But I don't know if that's going to get canceled or not. Hopefully it won't. They're going to be doing the duo will put on a show you did not want to miss with hit songs such as Welcome to My House, Outlaw Man, Little Boy and the Preacher Man, Stand on Ground, plus much, much more. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to go to that or not. I've been having to deal with so much, but I was planning on that. But you know how that goes. Another thing, somebody, you know. Whew, anyway. So I talked to the lady that, you know, and everything's straight. I have dealt with that situation. And so that was crazy. But everything seems to be going good. I've been watching these videos. Have y'all been watching those videos of the people who hack people or hack the scammers? Like the scammers get scammed. I've been watching this one set of dude, and his name is Scam Sandwich. I don't know if y'all watch his channel, but he like S keys them. He has videos of like their the scammers like being in their warehouse area or their like call center area. I'm obviously not going to play his content because I don't have his permission, but I'm just going to show you what I've been watching. It's been pretty cool because I like watching this stuff. This is like he has video footage inside their scam area, right? Like that's their scam area. That's how they set up their computer systems. That's what they're sitting at when they're trying to scam you. Also, there's a new scam going around. Because of watching his channel, I know about it. I want to warn the public about this. In his new videos, he's talking about this scam to where they basically act like they're your phone carrier, right? And they try to get your information for your, like, if you're an AT&T customer, a Verizon customer, so on and so forth. Now, here's the number one way to know if it's a scam. They will never ask you. Now, these people are asking for people's account numbers. But they're also like Google searching people and finding their information. So they'll tell the person their name and ask them to say if it's them or not, or tell them their address and say if it's them or not, or ask them for the last 4 digits of their social security number. No company known to man will ever ask you for the last 4 digits of your social security number when they call you. They will also not ask for your address or any of that shit, right? They won't ask for it. Now, if you call DirecTV, if one of these people call you, what I suggest you do, right? They'll try to offer you a 40% discount or they'll say this, that, and the next thing. Hang up on them directly. Don't give them any information, and call the actual phone number that is the real registered number for your actual service, and ask if they have called you, because most of them, now I do sometimes get calls like that from some of my providers, but they don't ask me like identifying information, like they don't ask me for my birth date, they don't ask me for none of that shit, right? And they'll say, well, we got such and such channels for free, or this, that, and next thing. And if you want to sign up, you don't have to do it with me. You can do it online at da 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 da. And they'll give the actual website for the actual service, right? They will never push you to do that. Very rarely will they call you. But if they do, they're never going to ask you for the last four of your social. They're never going to ask you for your banking information, your credit card, any of that shit. So anybody who calls you on the phone and asks you for stuff like that, or ask you to go get money and buy either gift cards, Bitcoin, any of that shit, it's always a scam. Always. And a lot of times they don't even know what services you actually do have. So they'll call you saying you have Verizon when you ain't got Verizon. And you know you ain't got Verizon. They're doing a phishing call to see what you do have. So don't tell them what you actually have. Just go, I ain't got that, and hang up. Stop calling me. I do watch, sometimes he records them having calls with people and people cussing them out. It's awesome. So this guy does really cool work. And his name is Scam Sandwich, if y'all ever want to watch it. He's really good. He does exposing on scammers. I don't know if y'all into that kind of stuff, but I be watching it. But no, I was looking at that because I do love the song Welcome to My House a lot, because that's the way it is down here. You know, we don't bother nobody. We don't bother, like, we know our neighbors, but we don't bother them. They don't know us. Like, it ain't like it used to be. I will say that down here. Like, you know of your neighbor, but you don't know, like, information and all that other shit, right? Like, you don't go bother people. You mind your business and, stick to yourself. I do absolutely love that song. I remember when it became famous, there was this dude that I was following who likes to dance. And when people was talking crap about him, so a lot of us took up for him because he really sweet, kind, caring guy. And, just bad people on the internet like to troll people. And he don't do nothing bad. He don't get into drama. He just likes to dance to his country music. And he likes country music. And so a lot of us were like, this is wrong. Like, y'all should stop bullying this man. He's did nothing. And he's actually a pretty good looking guy and seems to be a very sweet person. You know what I'm saying? And it was wrong, in my opinion, for people to say he couldn't be a cowboy or he couldn't listen to the music he wants to listen to. I think it's like, I like rock, rap, country, all kind of music. I listen to a little bit of everything. You know what I'm saying? Now, when I lived in the trailer hood, I did know everybody. When I lived in the trailer hood. And I am not ashamed of anything. In my past, let me explain something to you. My past made me who I am. It made me humble. It made me a good person. Yeah, I know what the struggle is like. And let me tell you something. If the world ever comes to a shit end, I know how to survive, baby. I know how to plant plants. I know what you can eat. I know what you can do. I know how to fish. I know how to plant. I know how to make clothes. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not ashamed of a damn thing from my past. And nobody else should be either. You should never be ashamed of where you came from and what you went to or what you went through in your life. You should not be ashamed if you got a family member who is a drug addict. That's not on you. You can't help that shit. You know what I'm saying? And people try to make people feel ashamed about something in their real life. And shamed about this, shamed about. It's a shame if you doing evil shit to good people. It's a shame when you think that's funny or making fun of disabled people. That's a shame. Your behavior and how you do now and how you treat people, that can be a shame. But something you went through in your past that made you a better person, nah, you shouldn't be ashamed about that. Even some of y'all who might have criminal charges on your past, right? Or did something in the past, don't feel ashamed about that shit. Don't ever let nobody make you feel ashamed about that shit. Everybody's got a past. Some of us never went to jail. I mean, I never did, but I still, I don't put down anybody else for, something that happened to them. And even like people of the past, I don't shame sex workers. And I don't think that's okay too, because here's the thing, you don't know what somebody else has to do in their life to survive. You don't know what's going on. And until you know, the only way you should shame them motherfuckers is if they're doing something they ought not to. And you know what I'm talking about. Like, there's some things you just don't cross the line and do, right? But you don't know why that person had to be a stripper back in 2008. You don't know why they were over there being a bartender half clothed. You don't know what their situation was at that time. And sometimes in this lifetime, we got to do what we got to do to survive. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what goes on at somebody else's house, so don't pass judgment before you know. Now, I may poke a little fun at people and do all that shit, but I have never made fun of someone or for their past or things that they've been through. I ain't gonna make fun of nobody's eating disorder. I ain't gonna make fun of nobody's alcoholism or their drug addiction of the past, because you don't know what they were going through. That's just my point of view. Just like I think kids should be off limits. That's just my personal opinion. Just like I think that there's lines you don't cross, and a lot of people think it's cute to cross those lines. It's not. But that's my personal opinion. I can't tell nobody else how to fight. I can't tell nobody else what to do with their life and how they do things. I can only control myself. You know what I'm saying? I can't tell nobody else how to fight. I know people go low and some people go lower, but that's just my personal belief. Now, I with the going offline and bothering people's real life, nah, I don't like that shit. But you can't tell some people what to do and how to do it, and bad people always get their just desserts in the end. Because if you keep keep doing the same thing over and over again, sometimes you're gonna run across one. Hey, Miss Harlow, sorry I didn't comment too much yesterday. I was in your stream yesterday. I was playing a game while listening. I admit it. I was stuck in a game and I was playing a game while listening, and so I was over there and I was watching you, and I watched I know y'all did Sisters in Grief yesterday on Miss Bambi's, and I like the way y'all are switching back and forth. That's pretty cool in my opinion. Like, I think another good thing y'all could do, and this just might be, a thing, maybe create a channel specifically for Sisters in Grief. I don't know if y'all thought about that. And both of y'all have the login information and all that stuff. I think that would be cool. But y'all could just keep doing it back and forth on y'all's channels too, where y'all don't have to do all that extra. Bruiser, you ain't dying. Chill the hell out. Come on up here and lay down. Come on. Come here, bro. That dog, I swear, I love him to death, but he is spoiled rotten. The other two are laying down chilling, but he does not know what chill is. He has no chill. Also, MU Love, if you happen to see this, congratulations on your new puppy. I know where you lost your older pups. It was very heartbreaking. Also, do an update on Miss Emily. We're still praying for your baby girl. The baby did come off the vent and her temperature is staying normal right now. So we know that that's a good sign that she does not have infection. We know that's a good sign that she's breathing on her own without the ventilator. So that's a great thing. We're going to keep praying for her healing. We're going to keep praying for that situation. So if everybody could just keep her in your prayers right now and that little baby and send good vibes. um you know so far she's doing okay, so that's a good update. I know that Miss Emily is a good person and I hope that everything goes okay for her with this situation and that baby gets to go home. And it's going to be a tough road ahead. I will tell you that having a premature baby is always a tough road. Now, I will say this: if in case in the future you find out that she has cerebral palsy, I can, give you advice on that and help. I will say, try to make sure she reaches all her milestones on time. And you have to do by her adjusted age. A lot of people don't know this about premature babies. There's a such thing as an adjusted age. If the baby is born 3 months early, right? Let's say, like my situation, um, my son was born in January, but his due date was in April, right? So that's 3 months. So when he would have been 3 months, it was like as if he was at 0 months. When he was at 6 months, it would have been his adjusted age would have been 3 months. 9 months, his adjusted age would have been 6 months, right? So you have to go by adjusted age up to a point. So they may not crawl at 6 months and may crawl at 9 months, right? They may not walk at 1 year. They may walk at 1 year and 3 months. You know what I'm saying? So you have to go by adjusted age on milestones. They may not set up until they're 5 or 6 months old. So just know that what adjusted age is, sometimes they will meet them on or before their milestones. But if they're not doing it by the adjusted age and you start noticing like dragging of one leg, having trouble getting up on their knees, when they start walking, they have like a limp on one side, or they, because with mild CP, sometimes it's harder to catch than severe CP, right? With mild, it's just slight little differences, right? And so, they also may have like social anxiety and different things, possibility, different forms of autism, different forms of different things. So you just have to keep an eye out, and early intervention is key. The faster you can get that baby into therapies, the better. I got my son into his before, when he was about a year old. So his was early intervention. I made sure that he was already in therapy for physical and occupational by the time he was a year old. Now, they did a speech pathology test and said that he was in the 95 percentile for his age group. It's not that because he's the type, if he doesn't want to talk to you, he just doesn't talk to you. That's just his personality. This way he's always been since he was little. Sometimes he just chooses not to talk to people. It's not that he doesn't know, he just doesn't want to speak to you. And if he don't want to talk to you, you'll know. That's just the way he's always been since he was little. So they thought he didn't understand things, but no, once they did the speech pathology test, they realized it's not that he don't know. He just didn't want to answer her. He didn't want to speak to her, so he didn't. He's always been stubborn ever since he was little, and even when he was coming out of the birth canal, he was stubborn. He wanted out, then he didn't want out. He tried to go back up in there. He was like, no, I've changed my mind. He's always been stubborn since he was little, which, with the situation, my son is my life. I took my entire life and made sure that he was straight. I physically hurt myself after he had surgery to make sure that I toted him to the bathroom. I toted him. I got him the equipment he needed. I got the wheelchair that he needed. I got the things that he needed. And I had to tote him to and from things, pick up a 100-pound kid. You know what I'm saying? Tote him to the, and I had a pretty long driveway at the time, to the vehicle to take him to and from all these appointments that he had to have. So when people don't understand why you homeschool kids, did you ever stop to think that the child may have so many doctor's appointments that if they wasn't homeschooled, they would have failed out? Did you ever stop to think about that? That they would have missed so much school that they would have flunked out because they had a lot of doctor's visits? But it's raining right now, and it's one of those days, you know. I was supposed to go do some stuff this morning, and I needed to go get some things from the store, but I don't know if that's gonna be happening. So, yay, weather! Also, y'all know on the true crime stuff that I do and whatnot. I do a lot of true crime. Let me show y'all. The dude is trying to get the phone stuff thrown out on the Madeline Soto case. If you've been following the Madeline Soto case, why is it? I didn't put it over there. I don't know why it's doing that. The dude, the Steven dude. Okay, there it finally went. Oh shit! Okay, let's do this. The Steven Stearns dude is trying to get the key evidence, the phone evidence, thrown out. Without the phone evidence, they're not going to be able to charge him with the child P. And a lot of the information that they got on the case is from the phones. He's trying to suppress the evidence found on the phone. I am hoping that they do not suppress that, because it, you know, it to me is going to throw out all those crimes that he did to not only Madeline herself, because there's a lot of photos of her on his device, but others. You know what I'm saying? It says Steven Stearns' lawyers argue investigators coerced him into up to giving his cell phone without a warrant. Well, I hate to tell him, if he gave that cell phone up and did it willingly, they didn't need a warrant. If he stated, if he, you know, literally gave the cell phone willingly, I don't think there's anything they can do for that whatnot. Let me close this out right quick. Why? I hate when they try to get you to get their shit when you're not wanting to do that. I'm not gonna click on that then if you're gonna try to get me. Okay. And he also stated I didn't start it. That the fuck you mean? How did a 13-year-old start with you, mother? Ooh, Jesus. But he was caught. Another reasons why, it says during the investigation into her disappearance, police found more than 1,500 disturbing videos and images depicting Madeline involved in SA acts on his phone. If they get that thrown out, it's going to be hard for them to show what he did to the child. Now, his father gave over 2 USB hard drives that had over 35,000 images of CP. I hope they don't throw out the evidence of the phone, because the phone specifically, and I don't think they can if he gave it over willingly. I don't know what y'all's opinions are on that. Let me go over here and let's see. Share this tab. Let me put up my content disclaimer. Right quick. Copyright disclaimer: under Section 107 of the Copyright Act, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise infringe. Oh, I got to remove this one before I can add that one back. Oopsie. This dude just ticks me off. I don't know about y'all.
What are the sleeping arrangements?
He sleeps in.
Did she sleep in her bed Sunday night?
No. I was just back at Midway for a couple months. We in the same bed together. To get some serious sleep, so she said no to that and suggested that the guest from upstairs had me. So I would cut a time that would suffice for Jim to get to sleep in peace.
So you say snuggle time, what does that mean?
I like to be alone. She's extremely dependent. She does not like to be alone at all. She needs human presence around her.
Well, that was murder defendant Stephen Stearns during his police interrogation, telling detectives about his cuddle time with his alleged victim, Madeline Soto. Stearns faces murder charges in the death of 13-year-old Madeline Soto. The murder charges are accompanied by more than 60 child sex abuse charges regarding Madeline as well. A new jail call between Stearns and his parents was released. And in that lengthy call, they press him about some of the allegations against him. Take a listen to this short clip.
Happy birthday, belated birthday, Mom, and happy belated Mother's Day.
Hi, sweetheart. I was so hoping to hear from you. I'm so glad I'm hearing from you now.
Yeah, I'm sorry I wasn't able to call you all weekend. They had us on lockdown, so no one was able to do anything.
Were you expecting these charges?
No.
The murder charge.
Oh, well, we know you're not.
Okay, so you got blindsided by that.
Yeah. Obviously, it's not true. I never would have wanted her gone for any reason, so, premeditated first degree is kind of a dick punch.
Yeah.
No, I was wondering if you had any updates or anything.
Nope, we haven't heard a thing. Just, speculation that she's been
Hiding
put in an institution and hiding in an institution.
at her lawyer's request.
Yeah.
I mean, are you helping? Are you cooperating?
Hey, Catfish. Hey, reality speaker. How are you doing this morning? Right now, we are playing the Court TV jail call between Stephen Stearns and his parents. Me, myself, and I don't know if I would ever be able to speak to my kid again if I found out they were doing some stuff like this. And I love my child unconditionally. But this is a situation like, as a parent, I'm not letting anybody up on the panel right this minute. I'm doing a show. But I'm hoping that you're having a good day in Pakistan. Good morning, Twisted. I'm from the US. How are you doing? I don't understand that, Catfish. I do not understand how any mother would send their 13-year-old child to go sleep in the same bed with a child. Like, that is a child. This is sickening. Also, the Karen Reed thing. What are y'all's opinions on that situation? Do you think she intentionally hit him? Like, I think she was drunk and backed into him. I think she don't even remember it, in my opinion. I think she should get vehicular manslaughter charges because that's what that is. They, I don't know if she intentionally did it, but also the other crazy lady, I forgot her name right now. Not Karen Reed, but let's go ahead and play this out. The lady who I'm trying to think, the lady who unalived her kids, and she's trying to say she didn't unalive her ex-husband, but she sure did. Who's representing herself now, but she's already Lori Daybell. Thank you, Happy. The Daybell case, that lady right there, woo, she cray. That lady is cray. She needs to be locked up for life, like never let go. Like, she thinks that she's like this reincarnation and everybody's zombies and she's got to take them out this world. I'm like, But let's listen to this Stephen Thurns thing. Like, I don't know how I'd feel as a parent listening to this and knowing what my child did. Like, I know my kid wouldn't do stuff like this, but at the same time, could you imagine if this was your child and how conflicted you would feel? Like, on one sense, you are like, I don't know if I could, like, think about Jeffrey Dahmer's parents. You know what I'm saying? When you find out your kid's that messed up in the brain, Oh, also happy. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it and you really want to show it. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. Okay, sorry. Had to do that.
Operating with police about her participation in any of this stuff?
There's been no opportunity for me to cooperate with anything. As I understand, the police keep saying that I'm uncooperative, but they haven't asked me anything to cooperate with, so whatever that means.
So your attorney isn't approaching them and saying, my client would like to speak with you?
Well, my attorneys are pretty much saying to keep my mouth shut until the trial starts.
Well, okay.
Okay. I don't know why they were going to wait till the trial, but that's their business, not mine.
They don't want anything to hurt my chances.
Yeah, understand.
Obviously, this confirms that they're artificially inflating everything up as high as they can possibly do it.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
So I don't know
Little sticks.
what the plan is there. If they're just trying to scare me into pleading down, or I don't know.
No, they're not.
Okay.
They're just trying to hurt me as much as possible.
Are you able to share the Saturday night before you left for Kissimmee? You were pretty upset about something. Did it have to do anything with Kissimmee and the events that took place the next couple of days?
No.
Okay.
No, I was just stressed out about money and job and everything like that.
Some woman got on a YouTube thing and said that you weren't even at the party.
Party?
Yeah, her birthday party.
Yeah, I haven't gotten there yet. I went up there Sunday evening and got there after she was done at her party.
Oh, okay.
And we were very happy that I was there. We were very happy that the three of us were together. It was shaping up to be a great week and a great visit. You know, there's no reason for anything to happen that happened.
Is there some explanation of I came up Wednesday morning, met you at the hotel early in the morning, and is there some explanation why you left and went where you went?
I was driving around.
Okay, understood you were driving around, but they know where you were driving around.
Yeah.
And we know.
Okay. I had wanted to grab a few things and get my ducks in a row, kind of prepare myself for whatever was coming, but I couldn't find what I was looking for.
All right, so he had gone to his dad's storage unit. He wasn't supposed to be able to get in, according to the father, but he did. He was looking for something. That's what he said. They took cadaver dogs by there. There was some reaction, but nothing that sort of hit as maybe a body over there. So that was that. Let's bring in our guest still with us, criminal defense attorney Robin Nunn, national trial attorney Michael Jaffer as well. Robin, I'll start with you. It's clear, I mean, the parents know what they know. They know where he was driving. They know what the police kind of know at this point. And I guess it's kind of sad because you kind of see dad feeling around to see what his son will tell him. Because in their heart of hearts, I feel like they know what happened here.
Yeah, it was a very sad conversation to listen to, quite frankly. You can obviously see two parents that are hurting, that are trying to get information from their son that they clearly believe is hiding something. And it seems pretty obvious from the phone call that he indeed is. The language that's being used isn't really natural. It's a bit cryptic at times, which makes me believe that, all the individuals on that call know a little bit more than they're willing to share or want to share. Everybody knows that those phone calls are recorded generally. So I think that they're being a tad bit careful. But at the end of the day, you can tell that the father does want to understand and hear from his son as far as what actually happened that day.
Yeah, Michael Jaffer, it's got to be heartbreaking. The father actually turned over a hard drive that had been in his home to the police. And on that, there was like 35,000 pictures of child pornography. Now, I don't know how much the father would know if he looked at it or if he just turned it over. I would tend to say parents kind of know their children on some level. But your reaction to what you were hearing on that phone call?
I was just gonna say what you said, which is the father seems to me like a pseudo investigator in this case. I don't like his behavior, to be quite frank with you. I was gonna say that he turned over the hard drive. He volunteered it. Nobody asked him for it. He volunteered it, and now he's on this phone call. You can see the mom. She's not acting like an investigator. She's not trying to trip her son up into words. Look, there's two universes. There's a universe where Stephen Stearns did this, and a universe where he didn't do it. We obviously don't know specifically which universe we live in, but we live in one of the two. Whichever one of the two we live in. If we live in the universe where he didn't do it, hypothetically speaking, then the father's behavior is awful. If we live in the universe where he did do it, then the father's behavior is still awful, because at the end of the day, you got to have let your son out there, let him fight himself through. And if the evidence is overwhelming, if the evidence is beyond a reasonable doubt, it's going to convict him, he's going to convict him. But for him to be on that call and he was kind of waiting to pounce on his son, he didn't even say hi or anything. He just jumped in. Hey, what were you doing? Why were you upset? What if some of these things have a legitimate answer? What if they do? What if they don't? Either way, I don't like the way it wouldn't be shocking to me if the father testifies against his own son on behalf of the state at this point. Right. So.
Yeah, I felt anger from the father, and I can certainly understand it.
Me, myself, and I, if that was in my shoes, I would have a hard time not turning over state's evidence at that point and testifying, because if my child did something like that heinous, and also has that kind of mindset, mind frame, to unalive a child, to do things to kids. Yeah, no. I'm sorry. I was going to show y'all this too. This is where he's trying to get the state's evidence blocked, because if he gets this blocked, it's not going to take out the fact that they found the other stuff on the hard drive, the 35,000, but it's going to take away reasonable doubt from what he did to Madeline, because it's not going to show her pictures and what he did to her specifically. Okay, I heard you, Brew. Did y'all hear my dog? He just went, "Arr." What is it, Brew? Are you being pitiful? Okay, you're wanting attention. I know. You're just pitiful. Let's watch this video right quick.
Lawyers representing the man accused of murdering and sexually abusing Madeline Soto are hoping to see key evidence thrown out.
They were in court today arguing law enforcement got information from Stefan Stearns' cell phone unlawfully. West 2's Haley Crumble-Home is live tonight. And Haley, what is the defense claiming?
Well, so first, we got to say this key evidence, this could be very significant in this case. We know from going through documents in the case for the last year that law enforcement is alleging they were able to find videos showing Stearns' abuse of Maddie on his cell phone. And now his defense wants to see that cell phone thrown out. They're saying if Stearns ever gave consent to search his phone, it was only to look at certain parts of it.
You had indicated that you did not consent to the search of your cell phone.
I consented only to them looking at the Google Maps and checking to see if I was on the Google in the first place.
Stearns acknowledged giving detectives consent to look at certain parts of his phone. His defense argues they went beyond that. Documents allege law enforcement were able to find videos showing some of Stearns' alleged abuse of Maddie on his phone. But that was after detectives noticed there wasn't a lot of information in his call logs or Google Maps. He explained in one of his initial interviews with detectives,
I don't know what the heck I did, but somehow during the massive OS update, I managed to factory reset my phone and lose all of my contacts, all my information.
One of the detectives that interviewed Stearns said in court Wednesday she let Stearns know they wanted to get more information from his phone.
When I explained to him what we wanted to do with the cell phone, I asked him if I had his consent to download the phone or if I had to obtain a search warrant.
And did the defendant consent to downloading the phone?
Yes.
Did the defendant provide you verbally with the passcode to his phone?
He did.
Stearns' defense argued if Stearns consented, it was only to looking at certain things on the phone, and that his mental and physical state, which included a lack of sleep and food, may have influenced his decisions. They said the state didn't have enough for a warrant.
Law enforcement has consistently overstepped bounds, knew that they didn't have enough for a warrant to get into the phone at first, sought a way to get around that, and kept going until they could get to.
The state argues there were exigent circumstances at play. Madeline Soto was still missing.
A warrantless seizure of the defendant's cell phone is permissible when you have probable cause plus a warrant exception. In this case, the state's relying on exigent circumstances.
Now, no decision was made today on whether or not that cell phone evidence is going to be thrown out or kept in. The judge said he plans to have a ruling on that by the end of June. The trial is set to start in July. Live, Haley Crumble-Home, West 2 News.
That is a long time to have to wait for that decision. This is April. They're talking about all the way till June. Yeah, I say it's BS too that he accidentally factory reset. I think he thought if he factory reset the phone, and he knew this when the detectives were looking for Madeline, right? I think he thought if he factory reset the phone, everything would disappear. Photos, everything. But what he doesn't realize is a lot of times it is your photos and your things on your phone are backed up to Google and they're backed up to the cloud, right? And so I think that he thought if he factory reset his phone, it would delete all evidence. And I think that's why he did that to his Google Maps, is so they wouldn't wouldn't be able to, he didn't know that your cell phone pings off towers. And if you, if they have your phone number, they can see where your phone is pinged from. But if he gave consent for them to download the phone, they could have looked at everything on that phone. There's nothing he can do about it. He gave over the phone with the passcode because he thought that all the evidence was destroyed. That's why he gave them permission to get into the cell phone. We're not stupid. We're not dumb people. We know that you thought you destroyed all evidence. Just so happens that there was some backup on that phone. And things were caught that you didn't think were there anymore. I'm going to tell y'all, I think the night that he was driving over there to that storage shed, I think there was evidence within that storage shed that he destroyed. I think there was some evidence there. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was clothing, if it was, whatever it was. I also believe that too, Happy. The problem is that she has signed a thing to where anything she says to the popo cannot be used against her. But what she don't know is that they can still charge her. They just can't use what she says against her. They, however, can show that, she allowed this man and the child to be in private places without her testimony, without what she says. They don't have to have what she says. She's done enough interviews. If y'all watch her interviews before they found Madeleine's body, and then you watch the police interviews afterward, she is lying her tail off to save this dude. And the police even had to get on her and say, you're more worried about him having a lawyer and him than you are your own child. She was more worried about him than she was her child. That is just, and poor little Madeleine, like, imagine you're 13 years old and you're being taken advantage of by a grown man. You know what I'm saying? And you can't get away from him. Your mother keeps allowing him in the house. She's got, did y'all see? I showed y'all like not too long ago, Madeleine's bedroom. There was a bedroom upstairs with a lock on the door that she had them go sleep in. That could have been Madeleine's room, to where Madeleine could have locked her own door and protected herself. But no, she had Madeleine's bedroom in the living room area. And the only thing keeping that child any privacy was a divider. So you mean to tell me if that kid wanted to change in her bedroom, being 13 years old, she had to change in front of God and everybody? She couldn't even change her clothes in her own bedroom. A 13-year-old should have their own room. They should not be changing in front of others. Heck, a 10-year-old should have their own room, much less a 13-year-old. A little bitty kid. Now, I could understand. They said he put her to bed. She didn't have any health conditions that would cause him to have to, like, she wasn't special needs enough to where he would have to make sure she went to bed and all these other things, right? She could put herself to bed. She could wake herself up. At 13 years old, I was waking myself up. I was making coffee for my parents. I was helping with my brother. I had chores that I had to do. I could cook on my own at 13 years old. My child with special needs, who does have cerebral palsy, was able to do those things. So please tell me, why would a mother send a grown man that is not the father of the child, has not been in the child's life since she was little, to sleep in the same room with her? Why didn't Stephen Stearns sleep in the bed by himself? Why wasn't Madeleine in her room by herself? Why did this man have to be in the same bed as a 13-year-old child? That mama knew exactly what she was doing. She even said, don't do like on such and such TV show and leave me for my daughter. Who thinks that way? Why would you be jealous of your own child and thinking your boyfriend's going to leave you for your daughter unless you know for a fact something is going down there? And why wouldn't you do everything in your power to protect your child? I done said it. I'd be in hell or jail. Stephen Stearns wouldn't be on trial right now if that was me. If that was my child, oh no. The minute she started disappearing, he would have disappeared. I'm just saying. I don't understand how anyone, especially a mother, could allow this to even halfway go down. Like, it makes no sense to me. Why would a mother not care more about her child? And the man is ugly as shit. He ain't even good looking. And even if he was good looking, still, you're supposed to love your child. You want to know, like, that's what I'm saying. Why was he not in the mother's bed? And if you wanted to sleep more, why did you invite him over for the week? Why did you have him come to the house? If y'all are not going to spend time together. That is true. That is so sad, Happy, is that some women can put a man before their own blood child. It blows my mind too. My child comes first and foremost in every part of life. Always. Always. My child always comes first. And if anybody don't understand that, then F them. And I'm going to say this. I don't understand why women put these men above their children. Why? Protect your kids at all costs. I don't understand why some women think they have to have a man so much and they're so lonely that they allow this stuff to happen to their children. How many cases of this have we seen? This is another reason why I don't believe in calling CPS on people unless you know for a fact the child is being abused, because how many kids get put into the system and the same thing happens? If the child is being well taken care of, you should not be playing CPS games. Because let's just say that they took your false report seriously, because some will take it more seriously than others. And they remove the child right away without even an investigation or anything, right? Let's say that happens. And the child gets put in a situation for even a weekend while they do their investigation. In that weekend, that child could be unalived. In that weekend, that child could be SA'd. In that weekend. You know what I'm saying? And just those couple of little days, because you wanted to false report something. Because sometimes they do that. I don't know if y'all know that. Sometimes they do that until the investigation is over with. Sometimes they do that. Not all the times. But sometimes they do. And what happens if that child's unalived? So you cared more about making someone else's life a living hell to get a child unalived? Thank God that doesn't happen all the time. But how many cases of this have we seen? It's super sad. Super sad. It's sad that mothers care more about men and other things than, look at that beautiful baby. Y'all know she could have grown up to be anything in this lifetime. She could have been a doctor. She could have been a nurse saving lives. She could have been a lawyer. She could have been, so many things in life. And she'll never get to go to prom. She'll never get to graduate. She'll never get to go to college. She'll never get to have children. All the things that we get to live and do were taken from this baby. Her innocence was ripped from her. And here's the sad part. I wouldn't doubt, because he groomed her for so long, that the baby thought he really loved him. Look at the Naziah Harris case and what Jarvis Butts did, and the parents of that baby girl. And I call her a baby because no matter how older, or I don't care if you're 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, I don't care if they're in their 20s, they're still a baby to me. Right? If we look at the Naziah Harris case, they knew that man had CP charges and allowed him around their child. I would never allow a child predator around my child. Ever. Not for any amount of reason. Once you have those, and even if it was a suspected thing, right? Even if it was suspected and you didn't do nothing, you still not gonna be around my child. I'm sorry, I ain't taking those chances with my kid. Never would. I think the same thing, Catfish. I don't think Madeline was his first case. But I'd also, here's also the possibility that I'm thinking maybe it was the first person he had full access to. So that's the only reason it might have been his first time, was because it was the first kid he had full access to. If you get what I'm saying, because I don't know if he's ever had this much access to a child before, and that's maybe why he stayed with this woman and started grooming the child from the time she was young. This may have been, he may have had these sick thoughts in his head all this time, and he found someone that he could finally victimize. Now with the David Butts, not David, yeah, it's not David, it's Jarvis Butts in the Naziah Harris case. He had actually had previous charges back in 2004, and they allowed the children to go with him alone, knowing he had child SA charges on his record. I do believe that with Madeline Soto's case, I do believe she was the only child. I have not seen any other information. Let me see right quick. Was Madeline an only child? Let's see if we can find this information right quick. Let's do a little Google search. Let's see. I haven't found any documents that state that that there were other children in the, like, by the mother. But I'm going to try let's see. I'm looking right quick, but let's see. Jen, so now this is something that I'll read to y'all right quick. I don't think Jen Soto has other children, but let me look up. Does Jen Soto have other children? So far, I've found nothing. A detective in the incident report from the Orange County Sheriff's Office said they believed that her mother, Jennifer Soto, accepted the victimization of her daughter. I'm sitting here looking. So far, I don't see anything that states that she has other children. But this is what I was going to read y'all. This is from Fox. And then we also have something from Stern's parents, and we also have a Reddit here. So we're going to go over some more of this and see, you know, let me read this to you first. The Kissimmee, it says, Jen Soto may have known about Madeline Soto's abuse, new documents. Kissimmee, Florida, the Kissimmee Police Department has released new documents from their investigation into the alleged disappearance of 13-year-old Madeline Soto. Fox 35 News reviews over 100 pages of case supplement reports, revealing inconsistencies in the accounts given by Madeline's mother, Jennifer Soto, and her mother's boyfriend, Stephen Stearns, about Madeline's whereabouts on February 26th, the day she was reported missing after failing to show up for school. Madeline was found passed away just days later in rural Osceola County on March 1st. On that morning, the day her body was found, detectives contacted Jennifer for a follow-up interview. They informed her that the investigation was shifting from a missing persons case to a homicide, as they believed she was deceased, at which point she became silent for a few moments and started to cry, according to the report. During the interview, Jennifer described Stearns as a master liar and said she wanted to believe he had nothing to do with Madeline's disappearance. However, after being shown evidence photos, she realized he was guilty. When asked what she believes Stearns was guilty of, Jennifer replied, "He's been grooming and abusing my child," the report stated. When asked if she thought Stearns had illed Madeline, she said, "At this point, I do," after they showed her a photo of Madeline slumped over in Stearns' vehicle. Stearns was first arrested 2 days after Madeline was reported missing. He was charged with 60 counts of sexual-related crimes, including sexual battery, molestation, and possession of child sex abuse material, after he voluntarily turned his phone over to law enforcement. Several of Stearns' court hearings have been continued. As of right now, Stearns is scheduled to be in court for a status hearing in mid-October, which we know now the next one won't be until June. So, you know, this case is going to be dragged on, which I think he should just spend the rest of his life. Let's share this tab right here. This is from his parents, right here. Stearns' parents, he spent a lifetime lying to us. Interviews paint pictures of a relationship with family, Madeline's mom. Over 3 hours of police interviews released to the media last week paint a picture of Stephen Stearns, the man police have charged with SA abusing and murdering Kissimmee 13-year-old Madeline Soto in the final week of February. The Kissimmee Police Department, Osceola County Sheriff's Office, and Orange County Sheriff's Office interviewed his father, Chris Stearns, of Northport between February 27th to the 29th, after Soto had gone missing, but before her body was discovered along Hickory Tree Road south of St. Cloud on March 1st. They also interviewed Chris and mother Deborah Stearns on September the 6th in Northport. The two made it very clear they didn't approve of their son's relationship with Jennifer Soto, Madeline's mother, saying the byproduct of her mental state due to taking medication for anxiety and other issues made her not a good influence for their son. She's bipolar, bisexual, a drug addict. The family was disapproving. She was sharing drugs with Stephen, Deborah Stearns said. She was spiraling down and taking him down with her. They were feeding off each other and not in a positive way, said Chris Stearns. She is culpable as he is regarding the death of her daughter. Stephen's emotions were erratic and unpredictable due to the medications he's been on, the father said, and the parents said he was diagnosed with TBI, traumatic brain injury, from a car crash during his youth and was on an IEP, individual education plan, while in school. He spent a lifetime lying to us, Chris Stearns told investigators. The parents said Stephen worked at Disney for a year and appeared to have his life on an upward path. Who the freak would want him working at Disneyland around all them kids, knowing he got all that CP on his damn phone? But he left the job and formed a pattern of always being short of money. At one point, when Stephen and Jennifer agreed not to be in the relationship, Chris said Stephen took over one of the upstairs bedrooms at Jennifer's Venetian Bay condominium, and going back to November 2022, was being charged $600 a month for rent, an amount Chris said he ended up paying many months. I didn't realize I was supporting the whole family, he said. After Stephen left Kissimmee and went back to Northport in 2023, the parents said he had locked himself in his room all day and only come out for dinner, but would be on FaceTime with Jennifer while out of the room. The parents said Stephen had planned to go Kissimmee for Madeline's birthday party on February the 25th, 2024, the last day most of the family saw her alive. He said he'd be gone a week, and Chris and Deborah said they look forward to the break. Chris and Madeline called Stephen to make sure he was coming Sunday for the birthday party thrown by her grandmother. Indications are from records that he arrived in Kissimmee after the party, and Stephen called Chris when he arrived. Chris said he tried to reach Stephen during the early afternoon on Monday, February 26th, the day Madeline went missing, and when he finally reached Stephen at 3:17 p.m., his voice sounded off a little. Chris said, I thought maybe he didn't have a good night's sleep. And then he said he had a flat tire. Now the radar goes up. Stephen was vague about where the flat tire happened. Then at 4:54 p.m., Stephen called to say he was en route to Madeline's grandmother's office. He said there had been an occurrence. I thought that was a strange word to use, Chris said. A flat tire and this and two events one day, that's weird. Stephen talked about how he had said he had dropped Madeline off for school and Hunters Creek Middle at church down the road and on the opposite side of State Road 417 because Madeline didn't want to be seen dropped off in front of the school because he didn't drive a cool enough car. He then talked about how he held himself responsible for Madeline's disappearance. The same interview he gave on Tuesday on TV media on the 27th, Chris said, almost like he was rehearsing it with me. Chris and Jennifer texted him on February the 28th, the day Stephen was arrested, to ask him to get Stephen a lawyer. So Jennifer texted his parents on the 28th to get him a lawyer and described the sexual images found on his phone and Google Drive. By the 28th, Stephen had been charged with 60 counts stemming from creating and keeping SA assault material. When asked by the detectives if the couple thought Stearns was capable of doing this, Deborah replied, if you'd asked me Sunday, the day before Madeline went missing, I'd say never in a million years. He loved that child as his stepdaughter. He was not allowed to discipline her. Jennifer did that, but he served as a peacekeeper. Indeed, in another part of the interview, Deborah said when Jennifer and Madeline would come to Northport to visit, she observed them butting heads to the point that Deborah thought Madeline exhibited the same bipolar tendencies as her mother. At one point, she heard Madeline refer to Stephen as Dad. In the same interview, Deborah told investigators about a premonition or a dream she had that made her think the death was accidental. In a dream, they were in Maddie's room unclothed. Jen came in to wake her up, was confronted by them being together in a way they shouldn't have been. A struggle ensued and she hit her head and broke her neck. And Jen said to Stephen, you caused this. You have to fix this, Deborah said in the dream. First off, why would you be okay with your kid even being in the, like your kid being in the same bed with a grown man? Is the screen black for everybody? Can everybody see? Let me see what's going on. It shows me that everything looks okay on this side. Yeah, she was more worried about him than she was for her child. Okay, I was just making sure. She was more worried about him than her child. Even the cops called her out on this. I was just making sure that everything was still okay. Okay. See you in a second, Catfish. But to know that you care more about this man than you do your own child, it's just sickening. Now, I don't see anything of her having other children than Madeline. I'm trying to find more, but you know, as you look this up, they just keep talking about, oh, look, this right here shows his emails. Maybe we should watch this. This shows his email. Let's see if we can see more information about this. This shows, oh yeah, this is going to be good right here. Let's share this tab right quick. Okay, let's share this tab right quick. Present screen. Let's see, where is it at? Okay, here we go. We're going to play this video right quick.
Madeline Soto's 13th birthday party was on Sunday, February 25th. The party was at a relative's home and she was surrounded by family. But one person who wasn't there was her mother, Jen Soto. She was working. Madeline's mother and father were not together, but there was a man living in their house, her mom's boyfriend, Stephen Stearns. At some point after her party and before she was supposed to be at school the next day, Madeline was murdered. Stearns was the last known person to be with her, and he is alleged to have hundreds of disturbing photos on his phone of Madeline being sexually abused. Stearns has been charged in 2 separate cases, the first for the sexual abuse of Madeline depicted on his phone, and the second for the murder of Madeline. Stearns is behind bars waiting for his trials, but now new information is being released regarding the timeline and emails between Stearns and his family. Are they pointing the finger at Madeline's mother, Jen? We'll take a closer look as we investigate the tragic life and death of Madeline Soto. I'm Vinny Politan. Thanks for being with us. Madeline Soto, a 13-year-old girl who lived an incredibly difficult, tragic life. And you shouldn't have to say that about someone who was 13 years old, but that's the truth. You look at these photos and you wonder how she was able to even smile knowing what she's alleged to have gone through for years. Madeline Soto, 13 years old, was celebrating her birthday. This is the photo from that birthday party. She's surrounded by family. You know, it's a big moment for a child. When you become a teenager, that's a big moment. You're not a kid anymore. Now you're a teenager. You get a little more to say in the world. You can speak up for yourself. You can stand up for yourself. There's a level of maturity, and I think a level within a child when they become a teenager, they know it's different. They know I'm not a kid anymore. I'm a teenager. Now, for her dad and her mom were never really together. Her dad's with someone else out of state. They keep in contact and all, but these are really the people that are around her in her life. You're talking about her mom, Jen, and the man on the right, Stephen Stearns. This is a man who didn't marry Madeline's mom, Jen, but they had some sort of an off-again, on-again relationship that's a little vaguely defined. The more we learn, the more vague the nature of that relationship is. But it seemed that for Madeline, he referred to himself, as did Jen, referred to him as the stepdad, even though there was no formal commitment. And these three are together. One thing you need to learn, though, or need to understand or remember, is that Jen is on record, according to police, saying that there were nights where if she needed to sleep in or she had a headache, that Madeline's mother would send Madeline and Stephen off to sleep together, alone, together in another bedroom, away from mom. She's on record saying that. That's a big part of the backdrop of everything here, because when Madeline disappeared, the first charges in this case were not for her murder or her disappearance, but were for the alleged sex abuse that was apparently digitally memorialized on Stephen Stern's phone. Child under 12, going back years. Horrific. And these images are kept. And the allegations are some of those images include Stephen Stearns. You see him, you hear him in videos. Disturbing things taking place. So when she disappeared, none of that was public yet. So Stephen Stearns, the last known person to be with Madeline, and Jen Soto gave interviews, including one to WFTV. Take a look, take a listen.
It is not normal behavior. She's not the type that would just run off. We don't know where she could be. We're scared. We just want her home.
We're desperate for any answers, anything that you could do to help. I'm here for it. Just please, if you see my daughter, just please bring her home. I just hope you're okay, Maddie. I hope you're safe. I hope you're not hurt. I just hope she's okay.
Now, Jen Soto, Madeline's mother, has not been named as a suspect. She hasn't been arrested. She hasn't been charged with anything. We haven't heard any public statement from her since Madeline first disappeared and since her body's been recovered and her boyfriend's been charged with all this sex abuse and with the murder of Madeline. But now we're learning a little bit of what's happening on the other side. So Stephen Stearns locked up, right? Waiting for his trials. And he's communicating with family members, including emails with his mom. And some of those emails have now been made public. And right now, I want you to take a listen to one of them as read by one of our producers.
You don't see the commissary and cannot order anything? I hope that gets resolved quickly. Do you remember your balance? Jail and prison are not meant to be comfortable. All part of the mental punishment, I guess. Stay positive. Talk with your attorneys. I keep thinking about how you would not ever rat out a friend. It really made me mad, and I felt like you valued them over us when you let them get away with stuff. Don't be doing that again. We all know was heavily involved in this, and I am disgusted that she is free and you are not, when this is not all your fault. You need to think about yourself more and her less. She sure isn't thinking of you and how she can help you right now. That whole family is willing to stay quiet and let you take the fall for everything. When you do that, you're hurting us too. Please get out of your head over this and start talking with your attorneys. This stuff is serious, and you need to approach it as life and death, which it is. I think of the craziness lived through with various partners, not a stable life at all for a child. I do pray for and for you daily. I am thrilled that you are working out again and have a physical outlet for the stress. I hope you get your coffee and candy straightened out quickly. So far, I haven't seen a cancellation on Congo. Let us know as stuff filters down to you through the system. This origami book is just paperback, no paper, just patterns if I read it right. Well, I'm off to feed the curly ones now. Love, hugs, and prayers now and every day and night. Mom.
So you listen to that and you read that, and it seems that Stephen Stearns' family is pointing the finger at Jen Soto in this, that she had a role in all of this, that he's somehow covering or protecting her in all of this. Is that true? Or is this an email they sent knowing that everyone was going to see this email? Let me bring in our special guest. Joining us tonight in Orlando, Florida, WFTV investigative reporter Shannon Butler, and also joining us, true crime YouTuber Gray Hughes of Gray Hughes Investigates. Thank you both for joining us. I know you've both been all over this story as all this is breaking. Shannon, I'll begin with you. Your reaction to that email. What are you hearing, and what are the questions you have coming out of that?
Well, we were actually surprised that we got these emails because when we originally had made all the requests for anything that was coming out of Stephen Stearns from the jail here in Orlando, we were told there wasn't any visitors, there wasn't a lot of communication. And then just this last week, these emails get sent to us from the state attorney's office through Discovery. And I first looked at these emails, and the first thing that stood out was that was her pointing the finger at Jen Soto. And we couldn't figure out, as you know, reading those, because we haven't talked to his mother, of whether or not she knows something that we don't know yet, or this was just a parent saying she is as much to blame as anyone else. It's hard to tell if this is just a mother who doesn't like the girlfriend and doesn't like the situation, or if she knows more. Those are the questions we've been asking investigators all week. Like, what is happening here? What is it that you guys know? But they're keeping tight-lipped once again in this investigation.
Yeah, you have to wonder if they read something like that and say, oh, okay, it looks like perhaps Stephen Stearns' mother knows something else about this investigation. I'm sure they would attempt to follow up on it. Gray Hughes, you know, this could be, again, like Shannon said, parroting what he is explaining to them, or it could just be putting something out there to try to take the heat off of him. But what I thought was interesting is there was almost an admission that he's not the only one responsible. It wasn't like she's responsible, you're not. It's like, well, she has a role in all of this as well.
Yeah, like don't go down alone is what it sounded like. You know, at least it sounds like she's admitting that she knows he did something. Well, because it's pretty obvious to everybody. The way I look at this is where the first part where she says, I keep thinking about how you would not ever rat out your friends. It really made me mad. I think what she's trying to do is guilt him into telling them some story or something because he hasn't told them anything. Because why would they need to use that phrase right there about, hey, you never ratted out your friends and it always made me angry. If he'd already told them something, she would just refer to that in the comment. So I think it means that they aren't aware, he has not told them anything yet. They're just hoping he does, because there's a lot of people out there that believe that Jennifer is involved in some way. So
it's every time you talk about this story, you talk about this case, it always comes back to Jen Soto. And for me, it's what is going to be her role at the trial. Okay, Shannon Butler, Gray Hughes, staying with us. When we come back, we've got some more additional details related to the movements of Stephen Stearns, and it's adding to that timeline that we've been building in this case.
Did a customs agent commit cold-blooded murder?
Marsha Thompson is accused of fatally shooting her husband as he's lying on a couch.
She's claiming self-defense, alleging that Terry Thompson repeatedly threatened to kill her.
So what really happened inside this home?
Now, a jury will decide the fate of this law enforcement officer.
Court TV.
Hey, Cut and Shoot Love. Hey, Mr. Jim, the best Jim, Mr. Jim Coddington. This morning we were just talking about the Madeline Soto case. I have not found any information that she has other children in the home. We know about the timeline. I've went over it before. And the fact that poor Madeline was taken advantage of by this man. I was hoping there would be some new information. Here, the only thing that we know of new information is that, he's trying to suppress the,
Madeline was
he's trying to suppress the evidence for the phone. And there was an interview on another channel with Chris and Deborah, which is his parents, and whatnot. me, myself, and I read a thing on Reddit where somebody has stated that the mother of him, now this is all alleged, obviously, without documentation or proof, we cannot prove that his mother was like a tyrant, and like he was quite literally, they coddled him, and they knew, some people claim that they knew about him being into certain things, and that it was rumored that they knew about like a previous thing that he had done about sharing CP with another person. It's on the Reddit. If you look for the Reddit, let me go back to my history because I just had it opened. And let me show you what it says on the Reddit right here. So if you scroll, here's the Reddit right here, right? There was a part, where is it at right here? There is a part about someone doing interviews with people who knew Stephen Stearns previously. So let me get to find that exact part. It says, I have some more to add. Some guy interviewed one of the YouTube channels said that he thought it was odd that Stephen broke up with Jen last year, but he was still going back to visit Madeline. Did Jen and Stephen rekindle the relationship, or did they take a break at one point? How long did Stephen own the particular phone? Or did he break another phone? Did he simply put it somewhere? These questions are if they had another phone, which I assume he did. Most people don't keep phones more than a couple years. And my inquiry would be to see if another digital device like a phone or a computer could be located to wipe for prior evidence. My guess is that he was with Jen Soto for more than 2 years on his current phone. He could be holding additional evidence. Where is Jen Soto's phone in all this? Where is the bio dad? Jen Soto's friends? I suppose such that will come to light in the future. I say because several people have called up Gray Hughes' show to interview. People may not be as forthcoming since Jen Soto is not arrested. It says a friend of the Stearns was interviewed, and he claimed Stearns and Jen were always off and on, and that he lived with his parents. His mother was an absolute tyrant. Jen really seemed robotic in her interviews, more like fear from him, but fear about her daughter as well. One of the strangest interviews I've ever seen. Maybe Stearns kept manipulating his way back into her life for Maddie. And then it says right here, I heard that the bio dad drove down from his home in Virginia, but wants to remain private. Same with questions 1, even the inconsistencies in her story and news reporting. Let's see here. I heard the mom worked 2 to 10 that day, where she missed the party. She says she was home that Monday and saw Maddie getting dressed for school, which we've heard that. There was another one. There was speculation that Maddie was going to tell someone. And then there's another part in here about an interview with someone who knew Stearns. So I'm trying to get to that part. So let's see if we can get to that right. Oh, okay. I think this is the part where it says it. Hold on just a minute, guys. Yeah, pretty much she was selling her child for this man. There's another part that says she was charged. I just played a part where she was charging him $600 a month to live there. Right here it says, Gray Hughes was saying people were awful for criticizing the 18-year-old that took money to keep quiet. It says people who knew he saw CSAM on his computer and didn't report it. I hate people. There were supposedly people who knew about the stuff that was on his computer, that on those hard drives. It says Gray Hughes was saying people were offered for criticizing an 18-year-old that took money to keep quiet from Stearns' mother. He was yakking about how the guy was young and did not want to tell on a friend. I used to think he was, yes, he is tech savvy, but a massive adult. What adult gives another 18-year-old, 18 is not that young, a pass to not report a guy recording his friend's girlfriend unknowingly and along with child P? So there was someone else from his past that they did an interview with. And Stearns had recorded his girlfriend unknowingly, and they also knew about the child Orn on his, that he had. Stefan's former friends would say about him, he got into off a few people, but his interviewing style is like they say that there are people, there's a person named Gary H. I don't know who that is. Gray Hughes. Not Gary, Gray Hughes. He did interviews with some of Stefan's past people that knew him. And this person right here says the thing is, when call-ins come forth and get attacked, it keeps others from coming forward. There's more info on that here. I don't know if I could play this, but because this is someone else's content, but what I will do is share this with y'all. Because this right here is supposedly someone who knew Stephen Stearns in the past. It's about I don't know if y'all have seen this. The person's name is Gray Hughes Investigates. And the video is about 25 minutes long. I'm gonna let y'all watch that at your own discretion, because I obviously don't take other. I mean, I could preview it, but then I could also get a copyright, and I don't want to do all that and have to go through all that, and so they it says mom was charged with domestic battery back in 2013, likely against her ex-husband. Someone found this on Truth Finder. But that's obviously alleged. And then some people are speculating that the mom actually did it because she was jealous of her daughter. And then some people are saying might have been because she threatened, Madeline might have been tired of it. Some people think that what if Madeline was pregnant or something like that. So, there's a lot of speculation going on right now, obviously. And then obviously we know that Jen Soto was making up excuses for this man. And, poor Madeline. That's all I got to say is poor Madeline Soto. She didn't deserve none of this. And it's really sad. It's really sad. This child did not deserve to be done the way that she was done. This is an innocent little baby. You know what I'm saying? Innocent child that did not deserve to be done that way. And what kills me is this mother's getting away with, the way that she allowed this man to do this to her kid. Who the hell allows a man to sleep in the same room with their 13-year-old daughter and tells them to go to bed together? Like, that's just sick. I feel so bad that poor little Madeline didn't get a life that she deserves. She deserves so much better than this. Just makes me sad to know that parents don't care about their kids. You know? But, you know, it's just a sad, sad case in general. It's a sad thing to say that a child is no longer here with us because of, you know, some BS, right? It's super sad. Super, super sad. That child didn't deserve to, you know, not have a life anymore. It just, I don't know about y'all, but it breaks my heart. Let me see if there is an update on the Naziah Harris case. That's also another one that is super sad. Her body is still not found. They've still yet to find the body of this child. Where at least Madeline's body got found. I don't know if y'all know about the Naziah Harris case. But if you look into it, it's a really tangled web. There's disturbing text messages. The child was supposedly pregnant when her disappearance took place. And Jarvis Butts has been charged, and he will be standing trial. But here's the sad part: her body is still not found. And if you look at the text messages between the two, it will literally make you cry. Tears. I mean, just tears. This baby did not deserve what happened to her either. And these parents knew that Jarvis Butts had been charged previously before he ever gotten Naziah's life like that, and had been in her life since she was like 2 or so. And she wasn't the only one in the family that he did this to. But we're gonna listen to this right quick on the Naziah Harris case. I can't wait for that case to really go into effect, because this case, you know, it's a really sad. I've went over it somewhat before, and there's you've not heard of the Naziah Harris case? I'm gonna tell you something. It's crazy. Jarvis Butts had been previously charged of essaying a 2-year-old and giving it a STD. Not only after Naziah's disappearance, they found dirty text messages, nude photos, all these other things that really bad. They also, he's charged with other children in the family of doing something to them. He has a previous record of it. And along with her unaliving, he's also being charged with a bunch of different things on that. So we're going to go over this right quick a little bit. I'm hoping that it gets, you know, taken care of soon. But it says DPD never investigated the 2022 claim involving Naziah Harris and alleged Iller. We could have done better, no questions, an assistant chief says. The Detroit Police Department failed to investigate a 2022 claim that Naziah Harris had been inappropriately touched by Jarvis Butts, the man later accused of killing and essaying her The alert to the police made by more than 20 months before Nazaya would go missing came in the form of a law enforcement notification, or a LEN, sent by Child Protective Services. We just didn't do enough with it, Assistant Chief Charles Fitzgerald said in an interview Tuesday, adding that the department has since implemented new policies that would ensure the same mistake doesn't happen again. We could have done better, no questions, he said. Last month, 7 News Detroit revealed that Jarvis Butts had been the subject of multiple complaints to Child Protective Services, including some that named Nazaya, along with a second girl, as victims of inappropriate touching. Records show that CPS investigated the allegations against one of the girls, who made no disclosures about any abuse, but not Nazaya. What CPS officials did do, however, was share the alert that named Nazaya with Detroit police in the form of a LEN. The alerts are common, with the department receiving about a dozen a day, more than 5,000 last year. They are sent when CPS learns of possible criminal behavior that a local jurisdiction may want to investigate. In this case, the complaint told DPD that there was an incident at a birthday party where a child, unnamed, accused Butts of SA abuse. The complaint went on to name 2 other children who may have been abused, saying Nazaya, and name withheld, reported that Jarvis touched them inappropriately as well. It read, adding later, Jarvis is he's an offender. He has to register, and a felon. Nazaya's great aunt Janelle said she filed the complaint with CPS that was ultimately made into the way to DBD. They're the police. They're supposed to investigate, Janelle said in an interview this week. Everything is there. But the department never did investigate it, at least with respect to Nazaya. Instead, according to officials, only the other alleged victim named in the report was questioned because CPS only listed her under the victim header, even though Nazaya was identified as being inappropriately touched. Butts, when questioned by officers, denied any wrongdoings. He has maintained his innocence since being charged. Makes 0 sense, says Tom Berry, a retired Detroit police lieutenant. Either DPD didn't read it or they didn't comprehend it. That's my opinion. Berry reviewed the LEN for the 7 News Detroit, saying that it was clear the alert mentioned at least 2 possible victims by name and made reference to a third. Somebody dropped the ball, he said. It's pretty clear by reading that there are at least 2 allegations of SA there. Fitzgerald makes no excuse for what happened and said that much has changed with how the department handles the LEN reports and receiving since the Nazaya complaint came through. Today, regardless of who CPS identifies under the victim header, Fitzgerald says DPD interviews everyone identified as being abused. He pointed out the original complaint lacked complete information such as Nazaya's last name or her address, but acknowledged that we could have found rather quickly who this young lady was had the department investigated. It's a horrible excuse, Fitzgerald said. We should have done what we should have done. Relatives of Nazaya said they are distraught to learn that the department was warned early in 2022 that Butts could have been abusing Nazaya. The fact that they acknowledge it shouldn't have worked this way, and it took something so tragic for something to happen to her, said Kiana Morton, a relative of Nazaya. You're damn right it shouldn't have worked that way. They should have did their job. Morton said she too filed complaints with CPS concerning Butts and wonders if the 13-year-old's fate might have been different had police reached out to her. Somebody has to answer for that. They absolutely do, she said, CPS and DPD. While the department says it is more responsive to alerts like the one that named Nazaya in 2022, it could not say to what degree other complaints like hers were never investigated. I think the obvious question that cases like this begs is how many other victims or alleged victims in reports like this were named but never contacted by DPD, Channel 7 Ross Jones said. I don't know. I would hate to speculate, even Fitzgerald said. Nazaya's family says that worry for other children whose complaints may have been disregarded by department officials. I don't think it stopped at one child sliding through the cracks. They clearly weren't doing their jobs. It wasn't as important, Morton said. How does this happen on their watch? If you're not familiar with the Nazaya Harris case, we're going to I'm going to show you a little breakdown of the Naziah Harris case, so that you'll know a lot of what is going on with the situation. Oh, thank you, Cut and Shoot. So sorry about not putting that in there right away as I was reading. Thank you, son.
Before we head to break, an update out of Michigan, where the judge in the Naziah Harris murder case has ruled there is probable cause for the defendant, Jarvis Butts, to head to trial.
We may never know what happened, but from what I heard today and over the last 4 or 5 days, it appears he intended to perform what he thought was a do-it-yourself abortion on Naziah and went south, and instead of seeking medical attention for her, he intentionally killed her and tried his best to cover it up. As much as I want her to be alive today, there is at least probable cause to show and believe that she is dead and that she was murdered by Jarvis Butts.
Defendant Jarvis.
The reason that they had to do a probable cause hearing is because her body is yet to be found. To this day, her body is yet to be found. Let's see if they have a breakdown right here so y'all can get to know the case more. I'm not just trying to do the testifying and stuff like that. I'm trying to find the breakdown of, let's see if this is the case right here. I believe it might be the breakdown of, and there's more to this case. He has been charged on multiple accounts of children. And
The picture behind me is of Zaniyah, and that will always be haunting because it was taken just a short time before the evidence shows that she was never seen or heard from again. It was taken by Naziah herself, a selfie. That's the last known picture that we know about of her. And it was pointed out to me by one of the detectives on this case and by one of the prosecutors. She is smiling and waving and saying hello. But little did she know that she was really saying goodbye.
This story, so incredibly tragic. Naziah Harris, little 13-year-old girl, should be enjoying those teenage years, you know? Should be having fun, laughing with her friends, going to school, learning, doing all of those things, but she's not. And she's missing, but presumed to be dead and murdered. I want you to take a listen to Kim Worthy. That was the prosecutor from Wayne County. Here she is talking about the evidence against the man that they have accused of the murder. And there's a connection between this man and Naziah's family, and a lot of the facts here are disturbing, to say the least.
The evidence shows overwhelmingly in this case that she is in fact deceased. The last time she was seen alive was January the 9th of this year, 2024, almost 9 months ago. Her missing status was reported to the Detroit Public School Police Department by her grandmother on that very day, when she never returned home from school. And again, that was January the 9th, 2024. In early February of 2024, the case was turned over to the Detroit Police Department. Frankly, that should have happened right away, but they began investigating immediately. The evidence would further show that through text messages that we know and that we have, Zaniyah and this defendant were going to meet after school on January the 9th. We know that she did indeed meet up with the defendant that we're charging in this case. We also know that several people close to Mr. Butts, who we were charging later, saw them together in several different locations, people that he knew well. We have evidence that at 9:30 p.m. on that day, that Mr. Butts checked into a motel and that Zanaya was never seen or heard from again. Not from her family, not from her schoolmates, not from her friends, not from social media where she was extremely active with her friends, not from teachers, no one. We know that she had no medical conditions that would cause a life-threatening medical emergency to her. And he, again, was the last person that saw her alive. She would have turned 14 years old just 10 days ago on September the 16th of 2024. And again, no one has seen or heard from her. You look at that face and you do not see the horrors that she had gone through in her short life. The exploitation, the molestations, the sexual abuse, and the pregnancy that she was concealing. The evidence will show that from one of her text messages to and with Jarvis Butts. And we also know, the evidence will show, that there's no evidence of anyone else being the father of that child, other than the defendant himself, who we charged today. And he knew she was pregnant. We know that he was also searching for ways to abort the baby. We know that sexually explicit photos were requested by him of her and that she complied and sent them to her. All at the hands, we allege, the man we are charging with her death and also her long-term sexual abuse. Today, we are charging Jarvis Butts with one count of first-degree premeditated murder, one count of criminal sexual conduct in the second degree, and one count of child sexually abusive material. Today, we are also charging Mr. Butts with more counts of criminal sexual conduct on two more girls, yes, girls, on two other separate cases. The girls in question now are 20 and 11 respectively today, but both were under the age of 13 years old at the time the offenses occurred that we're charging. Based on all the evidence that I've laid out now and much more that will be shown later in court, based on all these cases we will present in court, Mr. Butts targeted and befriended women who had to have sexual relationships with their young daughters. He would have relationships with their mothers, but his true desire was to have sex with their young daughters. That's what the evidence will show. He was a classic and expert groomer and pedophile.
Sounds so familiar. A lot of parallels with this case and what happened to Madeline Soto down in Florida. And it's these predators. They know how to do it. They know how to get close to children. And that's apparently what happened here. I want to bring in a special guest with us tonight. Joining us from Detroit, Michigan, Naziah Harris's cousin, Roxy. Roxy, thank you so much for joining us. This is a huge development in the case. Wanted to get first your reaction to the prosecutor, Kim Worthy, making the announcement that the charges have been brought in this case.
It's definitely a sense of relief here to finally be able to hear her say those words that we've been knowing from the beginning. Like I said in our last interview, you know, we, considering his background and things like that, we had our suspicions, and we're glad that they finally came to light today.
So can you explain for us the connection of Jarvis Butts and Naziah and Naziah's family and your family?
The connection with Jarvis is Jarvis was Naziah's aunt boyfriend. And they also have children together as well. So that was how he was able to be around the family as the immediate family that Naziah was living with, I assume as often as he wanted to be.
And his history, how well did people know his history and what he liked to do, which was prey upon children?
His history was very well known. I mean, he did do time in prison before for sexual misconduct of a 13-year-old girl or under as well. And I think he did 10 years in prison for that as well. And it was also very well known to her aunt, who was her boyfriend that he let it be known to her as well that he was also, a sexual predator, and he left the decision up to her whether she wanted to continue to have a relationship with him. And she continued to have a relationship with him, knowing that, he previously had those charges against him, did time for it, and that he was a registered sex offender.
How long, because what the prosecutor said, Prosecutor Worthy, the long-term sexual abuse, and that's the part that just breaks your heart. How long did he have access to Neziah?
From what the prosecutor said, they said that they have messages going back to 2022. However, I personally believe that he's been around the family longer than that, considering the fact of, the amount of children that he has with Neziah's aunt, and those children, I think the oldest is probably 11 or 12 years old. So he's been around for a while.
I want to take a listen to the prosecutor here who was answering a question during this press conference. Let's take a listen.
Some of Neziah's relatives said they previously had talked to CPS about allegations of sexual abuse both Neziah and other kids. Did that ever make it to your office? Is that something that police have investigated before?
Yeah, let me just say this, that if anyone that is watching this press conference right now or reads any of the coverage that I'm sure that you will give this, has any reason to believe that they were a victim of his or that they know something else, we certainly welcome them to contact the Detroit Police Department.
So it wasn't a direct answer to the question, but Roxy, from the position of the family, is there any level of frustration that the family knew of this, they were reaching out and nothing was done? Is anyone, like, there's obvious blame, Jarvis Butts is the one, right? But is there any level of shared blame amongst anyone else who didn't do anything here?
Absolutely. There's definitely lots of frustration within the family. There were family members that called CPS several times. There were family members that called the police as well, and nothing came of it. CPS is supposed to be, safeguard welfare for our children, and they're supposed to be able to respond promptly and do thorough investigations to be able to negate, reports of abuse and neglect. And because of the reports of the abuse and the neglect and the molestation that were reported to Child Protective Services, and for it to just seem like, there wasn't a thorough investigation being done or just turned a blind eye. And unfortunately, it's brought us to this very unfortunate event, which is, my cousin being deceased today.
That's exactly the problem here, right? It's Child Protective Services. We want them to protect them before this happens. If we know of something, see something, say something, make a report. And unfortunately, Neziah was not protected in all of that. I have to point out that your shirt says, "Where is Neziah?" because she still hasn't been found.
Right.
How important is it that
her body is still, they do not have her, they have not found her body. They do not have her body. So we will continue to ask, where is Neziah, so that we can be able to give her the proper rest that she deserves. She didn't deserve any of this to happen to her. She was only 13 years old, or 14 just 10 days ago. And it was hard to even try to have a celebration for her because it was not a celebration, and it should have been. So we will continue to ask, where is Neziah, until we get those answers, because she needs to properly be laid to rest properly, because she deserves that.
Absolutely. And Roxy, it's important that the family does exactly what you're doing. Let everyone know this doesn't end right now. It doesn't end with an arrest. It doesn't end with a conviction.
Right.
We need to find Neziah as well. Roxy, thank you so much. We'll speak again.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, when we come back, we're going to talk about this case. Now it's in our system of justice. You heard about the charges. You heard about CPS. Our think tank weighs in next.
We must be very careful who we let into our hearts and our homes and our lives, especially if you have children. Mr. Butts targeted and befriended women who had to have sexual relationships with their young daughters. He would have relationships with their mothers, but his true desire was to have sex with their young daughters. That's what the evidence will show. He was a classic and expert groomer and pedophile.
There he is, the accused murderer, made his way into that family so he could allegedly prey upon little Neziah for years. For years. It sounds so familiar, and unfortunately it is. I want to bring in our think tank, Eklund Mercy, Kirk Nurmi, Nima Rahmani. Here's the question, and I'll start with you, Kirk. Like, if the guy is a convicted child molester, gets out, we know who he is. The family, at least part of the family, very concerned. They're reaching out to CPS. If we can't protect that child, who can we protect?
You're right, Vinny. I mean, the sad reality is we have predators like this. You mentioned Madeline Soto. There was a little less different. We also think about Sandra Birchmore, and some of the accused is a police officer there. So yes, we can do all we can, and the prosecutor's advice to be very careful of who we let in our home and have access to our children is very important, very well taken. And sadly, you know, you can see this over and over again. We just mentioned a couple cases. These predators are so adept, and that's one of the reasons I believe that someone convicted of a crime of this nature, a leopard doesn't change his spot, and Mr. Butts should have been in prison for the rest of his life once convicted of such crime, so he wouldn't be in a position where he is now. I think that's where the real solution lies.
I agree. Nima, they don't get better, they get worse. But here's the problem, right? Like, the time that the system has to step in is when a child is not being protected at home. Like, that's the purpose of child protective services. Known pedophile, makes his way into the family, and there is someone in the family, I think more than one, reached out to CPS. Like, I don't understand how this continues to happen, how they don't, 2 + 2 = 4. Like, it's simple. Like, someone's got to step in if the family's concerned, but there's some sort of fracture in the family about this particular man and what his role is. Someone has to step in and help the child.
Vinny, you're absolutely right. The system is broken, and they absolutely let down Neziah. First prosecutors and this courts for giving him a second and third chance when he's molested others under the age of 13. You have family members. Obviously, Butts has a apparently sexual relationship with Neziah's aunt, and that gives him access. What are the family members doing? Apparently, some of them called CPS, but they didn't step in. And even with respect to Neziah herself, there's a coworker that sees what's going on. There's Butts, and these are all allegations. Like, was Butts' own sister? They check into a motel together. She hasn't had her menstrual cycle. She's pregnant at the age of 13. I mean, there's so many warning signs, Vinny. And if anyone had stepped in and done their job and done the right thing to protect this young girl, she'd probably still be alive today.
Eklund, people who work for CPS don't get paid a lot. They've got tons of cases. They got tons of files. But I'm looking at this from that perspective and all the adults in her life. And no one took the action necessary to save her. No one.
I actually have a problem with it. It starts with, since 2005, Mr. Butts was on the sex offender registry. He currently is on the sex offender registry and is showing as compliant. When you are on the sex offender registry, you can't even be around a child, look at a child, be on social media or anything like that. He wasn't even supposed to be in the same vicinity of this child, let alone be able to do anything. The moment anybody called anybody with regards to him being in the vicinity of a child, he should have been arrested because he's on the sex offender registry. So it's not CPS and the caseworker's issue. It's a criminal issue because he's a criminal and he was on the sex offender registry. But currently, those that are in charge of it have him currently as compliant. So the system, it broke in 2005, not in 2024. So this man has been able, he did what he was supposed to do. The people who put him on the list didn't do what they were supposed to do. And this is a problem. He's been on the list since 05.
Kirk, there seems to be no purpose of the list. Like, what's the, we make a list. All right, here's a list. That's great. You've got to do something about the list. There has to be some level of monitoring, follow-up, some level of coordination. So it's the family, adults in her life are letting her down at home. And then you've got the other part that our system is not getting the job done, filling the gaps where they need to. It's absolutely mind-numbingly frustrating, Kirk.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it, but Eklund raises an excellent point. Once that family members, once they contacted authorities, if he's on a sex offender registration, whether it's related to an offense for which he's on probation or whether it is a new offense violating those terms, being in contact with minors, that should in fact be enough to put him in prison, not just have CPS intervention. So to some extent, in the defense of the family, they really did all they could in the sense of with authorities. It was the police and what have you that failed to follow up on the sex offender registration. And one of the explanations for that is there's a lot of people on that registration, which people can fall through the cracks, which goes back to my point earlier, the idea that they shouldn't be out. There shouldn't be a sex offender registration list. There should just be a sex offender prison with a lifelong residency.
I agree. Kirk Nurmi, Nima Rahman.
I agree, and I agree, and I agree. I agree that this child should have never slipped through the cracks. I believe that the situation should have never happened in the first place. This entire situation is terrible. And if you read, let me show you something else right quick. Not only did he do that to Naziah, but he was abusing 2 other girls as well. A conviction of SA in 2005. Prosecutors called Butts a serial child R-word who SA'd an 8-year-old family member and a girl's 4-year-old daughter who reportedly caught chlamydia from the assault. A 4-year-old. He was charged in September of 27th of 2024 as a habitual 4th-time offender. Butts and Harris had reportedly known each other because he was the father of her cousins. The abuse of Harris allegedly began in 2022 with especially explicit texts and photos being sent to the child. Here's the point. It could have been happening before that. That's just the earliest that they have text messages. That's just the earliest that they have text messages. He was with her aunt and has kids by her aunt, her cousins. So that's technically her uncle, quote unquote, right? And should have never even been allowed near the home. She was in the care of her grandmother because her mother was on drugs. Her father was a man that was married and at first didn't want to tell his wife about her, but then he did. And so he had a relationship with Naziah. Now, Naziah's father, her birth father, has since passed away from congestive heart failure. So he didn't get to find out before he passed away if his baby was alive or what. He will not be able to see the conviction of Jarvis Butts. He literally passed away not too long after his daughter went missing. So her birth father is no longer here with us. She was living with her grandmother. And the aunt moved in with the grandmother with all her children. And many times the Naziah was living with the aunt who has connection, and Jarvis Butts was living in the home around the children when he was not supposed to. He was not supposed to be around any child. Her aunt decided, knowing he had these charges, he was upfront with her about the charges, to then proceed to have a shit ton of kids with him and allow him to take the children to his shop without adult supervision. Allowed him to take these young girls to help out around the shop. He worked as a mechanic or in a mechanic shop, right? And allowed him to take the kids so they could work, right? Multiple children, not just Naziah. And I believe the grandmother and aunt should be held just as responsible as Jarvis Butts for this issue, because they allowed this predator around the children. How many times do we see this? How many times? The text messages, this is some of the text messages right here. On September the 27th, it says, from Harris, come on. Harris, you okay? Where are we doing it at your choice? Butts said, you tell me. Harris said, basement, which means he was in the home. Harris said, you sure? Or job? Butts said, can you suck my D, please? And make sure you erase the messages. Harris said, K, that is what I plan to do. January the 5th, Butts said, I'm at your house. Harris said, damn, we were just there. You better not be in my room. Harris said, I need another phone. Harris said, I miss you. Butts said, I stole your panties. In June of 24th of 2023, Butts said, send me some pictures, please. Harris said, don't you still got the other pics? Butts said, no. Harris said, I will send some. On December the 27th, 2023, Butts, are you naked yet? Harris said, no, I don't want to get naked. Harris said, are you mad I didn't get naked? Butts said, I'm used to you telling me no. Harris said, come on, babe, I'm sorry, just not in the mood right now. I'm sorry. September 26th, 2023, Harris said, bae, you up? Harris, question. Harris, yeah. Harris, my period haven't came at all. Harris, hello, you there? Butts said, what you mean? Harris said, it have not come. Butts said, since when? Harris said, since I was in the hospital. Butts, that was last month. Harris, I'm scared. I don't know what to do. I have to go to the doctor's tomorrow. Butts, you said you took a pregnancy test and it was negative. Harris said it did. Butts said, so get another one. Go get another one. So Butts, being a grown man, is telling the little girl Harris, that's a 13 or 14-year-old, to go buy another pregnancy test instead of him buying one, right? And it's even fucked up that he had to buy one. But Harris said, I can't. I have no money. Harris said, you go get one. Harris said, you ain't scared to get a plan B, get a pregnancy test and bring it later today. Just act like you have to use the bathroom. Harris said, please. Harris said, will you do it? Harris, hello. Butts said, okay. November 27th. Harris, I just want to talk. I really don't want to lose you. Harris, can we talk later? Yes or no? Harris, I don't know what your problem, but I need you to bring me what I need tonight. It's hard doing all this gym shit with this baby, and if I don't do them, I'm going to get an F. January 29th, 2024. This is the final text exchange between Butts and Harris before she went missing. Harris, don't forget, be there before 3. I will let you know when I'm leaving the school. If not there, I'll wait. Harris said, send okay if you see message so I can delete your number. Butts said, okay. Now, her talking about the pregnancy was in November of 2023, right? And she was supposedly already a month along. By January the 9th of 2024, she would have been, let's see, if we go, if she was already a month, let's see, She said that the period didn't come on. Let's see the exact date. So we can do the math here. So that was in September. So October, November, December, January. This child would have been 5 months along. By January, she would have been 5 months along, for almost 5 months. Because they don't count the first month of conception, right? They don't really count that first month. Or she would have been going on 5 months pregnant at this point. Or very close to it. If we let me see, look up a February and they said that when she went to the hospital, let's read that again. When she went to the hospital, let's look at these text messages again. When she went to the hospital, that was last month. So that would have been in August. She would have conceived in August, or her period didn't come in August. So from August to January. And what's crazy, I found out I was pregnant with my son in July. In August. I got pregnant in July because that was when I had my first missed period, and I had my son by January. I was only 6 months along. I told y'all my story about him being 3 months early, right? So if that's the case, there's a possibility that she was 6 months pregnant when she went disappearing. You cannot tell me that her family did not know. And in some of the videos, they're stating you can tell that she looked that way, and she stopped showing her belly. She stopped showing her body. And let's say that she conceived when these text messages was in September. Let's just say September. I know it was before September. She would have been, October would have been 1 month. October, November, December, January. She would have been at least 4 months. I don't know exactly what she was in the hospital for, but I will say at the hospital, if they think or assume that you might be that way, they do give tests if you're of age. But this is one of the saddest cases. Also, hey, Mr. Fast Eddie, Mr. Fumble. So sorry about not being able to say hello at first. Was quite literally, talking about this case. Hey, Miss Jessica, happy Friday. Do y'all have any plans for the weekend? I know that Mr. Fumble, hey, Miss Mo, I know that Mr. Fumble's going live later, just to let y'all know. I did see that he has it already set up. I think it's 8 o'clock tonight, my time, which is Central Standard Time, which would be 9 Eastern Standard Time and 7. I believe it was for 8 o'clock. Is it for 8 o'clock, Mr. Fumble? What is it your time? If I could go back and look, but that way other people would know exactly it, in case YouTube don't send notifications. So in the Naziah Harris case, that baby, well, being that far along, she couldn't have had an abortion if she wanted, and went to a clinic because she was too far along. Even before they threw out, and a lot of states now are choosing which states allow it, which don't. There was always been the rule that if you're after 4 months, you cannot get, that kind of thing. Also, Cut and Shoot says that she is doing a live at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That will be 1 p.m. Central Standard Time and 12 a.m. Midday, or 1 p.m. Central Standard Time and 11 a.m. for the West Coast. And she's gonna be dancing to music, y'all. Okay, so Catfish just checked. Thank you. 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Catfish. And so that, if I'm not mistaken, when I looked, it said 8 p.m. for me. I'm Central Standard, so I'm about an hour behind what some people are. Good morning, Miss Joy. Oh, happy birthday. Oh, I thought I read happy birthday. I don't know why I read happy birthday. Sorry about that. I hope you have a good haircut today, Miss Joy. And I want to hug you very, very much because you're an amazing person, Miss Joy, sweetheart. But yes, that baby was at least 5 or 6 months pregnant when she went missing. He knew why he unalived that child. In the Naziah Harris case, David Butts knew exactly what he was doing. That child was pregnant by him, and he didn't want to have to admit to being the daddy because he knew that would be another charge. He was already on the offender list, should have never been around any of those children. In fact, the minute that he had a child, and he had multiple children with multiple different women and has been accused of multiple different offenses, he should not even have been out on the streets to even be able to do this. And CPS and the police department knew about the accusations of him doing this to a child. And they did not investigate. Naziah Harris would not have got pregnant and would be alive today because they knew about these accusations in 2022. She didn't get pregnant till 2023. If they had did their job, Naziah Harris would still be here. Oh yeah, we on the same time zone then, Cut and Shoot. We on the same time zone. Yeah. Because it's almost 11:30 here too. Oh, it's 12:30 there, so you on Eastern Standard Time. Okay. So that you know what? Why am I over here trying to guess when I could just do the simple thing of doing this right here? Just let me do this. We don't have to have all this guesswork. Okay. The live says it is set up for 8 p.m. my time, which is Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, and it would be 6 o'clock West Coast time for those in the Cali area or in that area. Great Mountain time would be 7 o'clock. Yes. And Cut and Shoot, do you have yours set up yet? Okay, Cut and Shoots is 1 p.m. my time, Central Standard Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That would be 12 midday for those on Great Mountain Time, and 11 a.m. for those on the West Coast time. I'm going to go ahead and drop the live link for it's a mashup songs live, so we can have a little fun and listen to music. Now here's the thing, Miss Cut Shoot, if I don't say hi in chat, no, I'm there. I'm probably gonna be in the sky playing a little bit games, because I want to play some video games. I got some calls to make and shit. But I'm gonna go ahead and drop the live link so y'all can turn on y'all's notifications, because that's the one that's coming up next. Just to say that we got, all of our notifications on and shit. I'm going to go ahead and get off here. I've been live longer than I should have. I went over an hour. I got some phone calls to make, some things to take care of. And I want to say that I love you all so very much. Thank you for always supporting me, loving me through it all, and just being amazing people. Thank you to anybody who hit the Cash App at all at any time. I don't care if it was 10 days ago, 2 days ago, today, 30 seconds ago. over a period of time, every single bit of it. I'm very appreciative. Anybody who joins the membership, just hits the like buttons, you sitting here chilling with me, chatting with me. I am appreciative of everything. And I want you to know that you're appreciated. I don't want you to ever feel like you're not. And thank you to all my moderators, my subbies, my members, everybody, my bushwatchers, my replay gang. And I want to thank you to everybody who hit the like, who's just chilling with me and talking to me. You know what I'm saying? I want you to always feel appreciated and loved over here and cared about. You know what I'm saying? And I want you all to have the most beautiful day that you could possibly have in this world. Keep smiling, keep laughing, and no matter what nobody says about you, keep your head up and keep smiling. Know that you are amazing just the way you are and the way that God made you. And I want you to keep smiling and keep being a beautiful person like you are. Hugs and kisses and my angels, because y'all my angels. And I'll talk to y'all later. All right, bye.
I'm from the TUPELO. I'm repping my hood, so love I'm gon' show from the TUPELO. I'm repping my hood to the day that I go from the TUPELO. I'm repping my hood, so love I'm gon' show from the TUPELO. I'm ripping my hood to the day that I go.
I'm from the west side, we don't need no introduction, this was the best ride. We all big boy rolling and holding, come take a test drive. Hilldale, Evergreen, Glenkirk, Outer Street, bending every corner on the west, and that's where I'll be. Sunroof back, Captain C banging down 1800, chunking up the deuce to my post slanging down on 1800. Show no love to the ladies that's training around on 1800, making time stand still, crystalline swinging down on 1800. Watching out for them knuckleheads that be stanging around on 1800. Big rims and low pros be blanging around on 1800. Better completely change the way you're thinking about around 1800. Really hate to see you boys get left slanking around 1800. Outer Street got some history, just let Captain C lay it out. If I don't finish it all on this one, let the second verse break it out. Remember the blue apartments when OG standing back there by 60 deep. Bull walking, car blue, a big Anthony Hughes and P.
I'm from the TUPELO. I'm repping my